All right. We should be live right now. Thank y'all for joining me. You are now watching ABL Live. We got live call-ins coming later and quite a few topics to discuss. What we got going on? Before I begin, I just want to say rest in peace to all those that died in the Virginia Beach shooting. You guys know I'm from that area. I'm not sure if I know anybody that has passed away or if they know anybody that I know, because, you know, it's not really a big area, but rest in peace to all those that passed. One thing that I got to point out, not to politicize it, but I got to point it out because it's the elephant in the room. Since there was no racist white male to blame, since there was no assault rifle, since that didn't happen, this shooting will not be on the news too much longer. That is the truth. They talk about Charlottesville every single day. That also happened in Virginia, where one person died from being hit by a car. But this shooting, you got 11 people shot and killed in Virginia. It'll be gone within a couple of days. It's unfortunate, but it's the truth. But what else is going on? We got quite a few topics. MSNBC talking about black folks ain't gonna vote for Trump. Nancy Pelosi worrying about kids in the hood. Jussie Smollett's case being unsealed, and so many more things. We'll get to all of that and more on tonight's episode of ABL Live. Thank y'all for joining. I definitely appreciate you. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me. Really, really appreciate you. And shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm glad y'all were able to make it. All right. Shout out to everybody. I see you guys. Let me see. JKT says, I used to live in Virginia Beach. I'm basically from Virginia, so I don't know anyone who was involved either, nor do I know anyone who knows anyone who's involved. Okay. Yeah, it's a crazy situation. You know, I've been down there to that courthouse before. It's kind of like, kind of far, kind of off in the cut. So people aren't necessarily going to be out there unless they have to, unless you're going to court or unless you work there. So it wasn't like necessarily a highly populated area. And the guy, it was conflicting reports. They were talking about, first I heard that it was some Indian guy that, you know, just went postal. He used to work there, but didn't work there anymore. But then it became a black guy who currently worked there. I don't know what happened. What was the trigger that made this actually go through? I don't know what's going on with the guy. I guess we'll figure out more about what's happening. You know, it's weird when you have a person that, you know, young white male, it seems like no expenses saved to find out their background. Why did they do it? What's the motive? But in other cases, it's not really a big deal. It's just like, whatever. And you know what? There was a shooting in Virginia in the same area, not in Virginia Beach, but in Portsmouth, well, Chesapeake, close to Portsmouth, which is probably about 30 minutes away from this shooting. You had 10 people shot, only one died. That didn't even really make a blip on the radar. I mean, it made national news for a moment, but it was gone. And wasn't even seen as a mass shooting. Now you got another shooting where 11 died. What's going to be the result of that? Probably the same thing as the first shooting where it was only one death, but 10 people got shot. Valerie Rogers says, born in Richmond, Virginia. All right, VA girl. The shooting happened yesterday, David. Yeah, it happened yesterday. Oh, you know about that, Woolman 757. They don't say anything about all the shootings in Norfolk. Yeah, I mean, it's to the point now where you won't even see Norfolk shootings on local news. You know, all up and down Church Street, all in Tidewater Park, Broad Park, everywhere, all over Norfolk, Huntersville, Northview, shootings all day, all night. And don't nobody say nothing. It's not on the news. You never really hear about it. The only way you would really know about it is if you watch, if you just, you know, go outside your neighborhood and just talk to people that have heard it. But you wouldn't hear it on the news, and you definitely wouldn't see it on the national news at all. Now, Wendy, I've seen one picture of him, and you got to search for it. You can't just, it ain't going to just be plastered like that. Now, part of me is kind of glad because I don't want this guy to become famous in death. You know what I'm saying? But they're not going to show it as much as they show a Nicholas Cruz or somebody like that or a Dylan Roof because they can't use the racist angle because he's black. Oh, bad news. Yeah, Newport News, Norfolk, Portsmouth, and Virginia Beach, too. Let's not get that twisted. You see a lot of stuff down the ocean front that never really gets covered. Well, they had they showed the Flotopia where they had all the garbage on the beach. They showed that on national news, if I'm not mistaken. But they don't talk about people that get beating their head down there on the ocean front all the time. You saw them, Reggie? Now, Norfolk is not as bad as Chicago, Baltimore, and Philly. It's bad, but it ain't that bad. it's because Norfolk is smaller than those places, so it's not that bad. Norfolk, you might have like 50 murders in a year. That's high for Norfolk because it's not a big city. It's like 250,000 people, maybe, right around that. But Chicago is much bigger. You're going to have 300 murders, 400 murders. It's a whole different ballgame. Let me see. Did I hear about UNC Charlotte? No, I didn't. I didn't hear about that at all. What happened to UNC Charlotte? The shooter was not Muslim as far as I know. He did not have an obvious Muslim name. He had like a regular guy name. And it didn't say anything about him being Muslim. It's information on there. They're talking about he's a Democrat and all the, in Virginia, you don't register with your party. You just register to vote. So if he was a Democrat, you couldn't tell that by registration because you don't register as Democrat in Virginia. Or anything. You just vote. You could just, you don't vote. You don't register to vote by party affiliation. You do that in some places, but not everywhere. Let me see. So one of my supporters who's a regular on the stream tried to say the shooters was white, accompanied by laughing. I don't know who that was, but nah, that's crazy. I mean, people just got to get their facts right before they say things. I had no idea what the guy. I'm hearing news stories, and I'm from Virginia, so I'm calling people. I'm looking on the local news back home, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on from there. But I wouldn't just put out false information like that. I think everybody need to just, in general, when these things happen, take a little while to get your information together, rather than trying to put out a narrative because the liberal media, they put out narratives. We don't need to be joining them and putting out narratives that aren't true. Just like this whole thing with Nancy Pelosi talking about, let's just say, kids in the hood. How are you going to tell kids in the hood how to interact with the police if you got Trump not knowing it's wrong to talk to Russians? First of all, so you think just kids in the hood, that's what we do? We got to talk to the police all the time. That's just like every day. Like it's some kind of grand entrance to the so-called hood where you got to talk to a police officer all the time. I mean, come on. Police interactions are rare. I mean, especially when you're talking about negative or things that could become negative. That's just not a common thing to happen. If you out there gangbanging, selling drugs or something like that, you're going to have frequent police interactions. But if you're just a regular kid playing basketball, reading your books, doing your homework, playing with action figures and your video games, you're not going to be talking to police. So, that was just really crazy for her to say that. I don't even know where she got that from. Watching too much TV, listening to a crazy campaign manager that don't understand what they're talking about. See, when I was in the hood, it was, you can go outside and play. Like me, when I was a kid in the hood, I'll be outside playing or playing my video games inside, read my comic books, coloring. And when I got to be older, it became more about playing basketball and stuff like that. But you're not going to be out there just all the time rubbing shoulders with the police. Like, nah, that's not how that goes. Let me see. Another victim died. Yeah. And shout out to Centera hospitals out there in Virginia. They say they had some in Centera, Norfolk, Centera, Princess Anne. Well, I think they said Princess, yeah, because that's right there. Because I've been in that area. I know where it's at. It's like right down the street. and they probably had to get lifted to Norfolk. That's a little bit further away. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what's going on. Yeah, not every hood is violent. That's correct, Theo Joe Show. Not every hood is violent. Because when I was in the hood, like, you got different kinds of hoods too. You have, like, when I was like probably like a teenager, early teenager, like 13, 14, where I was living was like a low income area. It could be considered a hood, like income controlled apartments, that type of thing. But it wasn't quite to the level of a project, and it wasn't in the part of town where it really get active. When they tore down the projects, a lot of them got vouchers to come to our neighborhood because we're like not too far above them. The difference between where we lived at and the projects was probably just the income requirement. So when they came to our area, things just got really hectic really quick. So you have hoods that aren't that violent. You may see some violence, but not like it's something you would see on TV where it's just shootouts every day. People got to duck down like Little Rock in the 90s. Nah, it ain't always like that in the hood. It just depends on where you live, and it depends on the situation. It depends on a lot of different things. It depends on the culture, religion, all that, and the income level. But really, the income level is not the cause of poverty and violence. The income level is just a side effect of people that are going to commit. Because if you're out there with the kind of mentality to be engaging in violence, then you're going to have a low income level to go with it. You know, so I was watching this video of this guy talking about he was committing these crimes and he kept going to jail over and over again. And he stole like, I don't know, like $5,000 from a house in the safe. But no, I think it might have more than that. It might have been like $50,000. He stole $50,000 out of a house in the safe. Now, although he was able to get that amount of money, it may have been a lot to him at that point. But how much was it really? He kept going to jail over and over for that situation and for other situations. You got to pay lawyer fees, restitution, fines. You done lost years of your life in jail. In essence, you could have made that same amount of money and kept it working at McDonald's over that period of time that you were going through all those different things. You see, but that kind of mentality is what causes you to be at a low level economically. People try to say, oh, if you have more money, then you would not be in a bad situation. That's not really the case. That's not really how that goes. If you have, your IQ is not really high, or you're just not really a person that is thinking on a positive level, you're going to have a low income level as well. That's usually how that goes. Now, the thing about ex-cons, you can get hired. I know guys that got locked up. I know a guy that went to jail for, I want to say he did 6 years in the penitentiary. He came home and became a merchant seaman. And I know another guy that did right around the same amount of time in the penitentiary, came home and started his own business. If you're talking about working a desk job or something like that in the bankers, good luck. You know, when we're talking about corporate structured environments, they're going to be pretty much a no on ex-cons. But if you're talking about, working with your hands, doing manual labor, starting your own business, then you can do something as an ex-con. A lot of these guys use the excuse, I can't find a job, as the reason why they're going out committing more crimes, but it's just a cop-out. You got to develop skills. And there's so many things you can do in America. Now, other countries, I'm not really sure how it goes. It's not as many opportunities in other countries to succeed. But in America, it's so easy to make it over here. It's ridiculous. You could do so many different things. All you got to do is work with your hands, work with your brain. You got technology. It's abundant and it's not expensive. Oh, Nico, you say you got a childhood friend in San Quentin? Wow. That's wild. But I thank you for that. We got donations already. Shout out to my man Snap Turtle who says, look out for my call when you're ready. Area code 323. I'll look out for you, boss. Try to do my best. Thank you to Nathan Shield who says, hey, ABL, what kind of toothpaste do you use if you don't mind me asking? Well, I'll tell you what. My teeth are kind of like white right now, like super white. I think the reason for that, before I talk about the toothpaste, is because of the lights. I have two big, I guess you call them floodlights. I'm not really sure. These are like photography lights. You see like the back of my hand, how you got a lot of light on it. It's because you got a lot of light coming right here. You can see it in my glasses too. Like you see this right here. Hold on. It's right there, right in my glasses. That's the light right there. So that's shining on my teeth, making it more white. But I use Crest peroxide and baking soda, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And I also have mouthwash. I use peroxide and/or Listerine for my mouthwash. And I brush my teeth usually 2 to 3 times a day. When I get up in the morning, after my big meal for lunch, and then before I get on my show. Like at night, I brush my teeth as well. Shout out to Stefan Godillo, who says, "Keep it up, sir. Will do. Thank you for that. Most certainly appreciate you." Let me see. Hold on 1 second, you guys. $700. What about 700? What's going on? Yeah, I saw that whole thing. I did a video about that MLK allegation, the rapper 10,000. But I'm not really sure what's behind that. If it's the Me Too movement or if it's an author trying to make some money. Because the person that released the information is the same guy that wrote his biography back in like the late 80s, like 1987. So there's new info that's come out, allegedly, and he wants to be the first person to put it out. Maybe it's time for a new book. Maybe it's time to get some more speaking engagements. I'm not really sure what the situation is. But I'm not sure if that's the Me Too movement or not. A toilet brush and Borax? Wow. Now, I have a bunch of glasses in the cut. If I break these, I got like 3 more spare. And I'll probably get some more. Oh, okay. Anthony Newton says there's a Florida man who was found with 700 dead bodies in his backyard. Are y'all serious about that? Hold on. 700 bodies? Now, what are we talking about? Nah, that's not that's not true. That's not true. EmpireNews.net. Nah, that's not right. That'd be crazy. I mean, if you had 700 bodies, you're talking about a more than a cemetery. That's, that'd be front page news right there. Now, what else we got going on here? Oh, did you guys see Jussie Smollett's case files being unsealed? I have a question to anybody out there. Maybe y'all can help me. I don't really know how this is actually happening, but how do you have a hot sauce bottle, like a Texas Pete or something, like Tabasco sauce? How do you put bleach in there? Because you're talking about the top of it is like it's such a small opening. It's like a pin. It's like a pinprick. How do you get bleach in there? What kind of funnel are you using to pour bleach in there? I don't understand. They said this man, Jussie Smollett, had bleach poured on him from a hot sauce container. I don't know what in the world. Maybe they had some kind of Walmart economy size hot sauce container. But if you're talking about the regular Texas Pete style bottle with the little pinprick on top for the opening, it's like an eyedropper. It's smaller than an eyedropper. How you get bleach in there? A syringe, yeah. I ain't think about that. But my question, and then that's the next question though. Okay, why would you go through all the trouble of putting bleach into a hot sauce bottle with a syringe? What is it? What is the purpose? I mean, you could have just, roughed them up a little bit. That would have been fine. You don't go through all the trouble of getting a syringe and filling it with bleach and then pouring that into a hot sauce bottle. And why has it got to be a hot sauce bottle? The whole thing is just so ridiculous and retarded. It's unreal. And the funniest part about the whole situation is when the police showed Jussie the pictures of the Osandaro brothers, the Nigerian guys, talking about, did they do it? Is that them right there? And then he's like, no, that's not them because they're black as sin. It's like, wait a minute, Jussie, I'm offended. You're saying that they were black as sin, so you're making dark skin jokes now? Oh, but you want to be this pro-black against 45, all this, that, and the third. And it didn't even surprise me when I heard that. I was like, that's typical. Totally typical. And these kind of guys perpetrating a fraud, talking about how pro-black they are and how much they love black people. And then you're making all these these jokes about the guys being dark-skinned. And these are your friends. So what's really going on? It's crazy. But hey, I hope that this leads to his FBI arrest. I think that investigation is still ongoing. I've not heard it come to a conclusion. I've heard the state investigation come to a conclusion, but not the federal one, because the state one was about the whole hate crime hoax. But you still got the federal one. That's about that fake letter with the white substance. So hopefully that comes to fruition. He gets convicted on that, and hopefully he loses that lawsuit that the Chicago Police Department has levied against him. Hey, that's what I'm saying, Demented Liquor. Why not put the bleach in the water bottle? I mean, that to me, that just makes sense, right? Just logical common sense. You got a bigger opening. You could just pour it in there. No fuss, no muss. You can seal it up pretty quick. Like if you had one of those smart bottles, not only do you have the top on it, the top kind of like pops. You can just squirt it like it's a water gun. So you can get the maximum splash of the bleach on him. And is cool, no fuss, no muss. You're good money. It's all day. All right. Somebody says, "I love Trump. What's the difference?" I don't know what that comment is talking about. Maybe that wasn't to me. I don't know what's going on. I get trolls every now and again, but they never want to call in. What I want to do is just if there's anything people want to say, just call. We could talk about it. We can have a discussion. That's what I like. So this whole thing about did you guys see Nancy Pelosi? Now I think I said something wrong in my video. It wasn't before the finals. It was after the finals on Kimmel. But I think she was on there before. I forgot. But either way it goes, she was on Jimmy Kimmel around the time of the NBA finals. Now, who wants to see Nancy Pelosi after they get done watching the basketball game? I know I don't. I don't know about any of y'all, but that's not who I'm trying to see. I want to try to see Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal, the whole squad over at TNT give their analysis of the game. I don't want to see Nancy Pelosi talking about impeachment. But the reason why she was on there, in my humble opinion, is because you got Disney involved, Bob Iger's involved. All these people want to just push the resistance. So what better way to do it than during the NBA finals? You're trying to reach the black voter. You're trying to reach the millennial voter. You're trying to reach the non-political person. But I think at a certain point, if you coming on after the finals, I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. I'm going to go ahead and just, go to bed and watch something else. Why would I want to watch Nancy Pelosi talking about impeachment, slurring the words, drunk off her hind parts? I ain't trying to see that. I just got done watching a fantastic game. I'm not trying to see this old drunk hag just ramble on for 15 to 20 minutes. I just don't want to see it. I have no desire to do so. It said bleach freezes at 18 to 19 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, what probably happened was, since they were getting Ubers and stuff, they probably just poured the bleach in the hot sauce bottle, and they got immediately into the cab. And then as soon as they got out, well, no, I take that back, because I was going to say as soon as they got out, they just threw it on them. But they had to wait for a while. They were like on the park bench. Now, if you done got paid $3,500, not only for this fake hate crime that you got to split between two people, also you got to do some personal training. I mean, you're not really getting paid much money. $500, and then you got to buy supplies out of that money too. You had to buy the bleach, the rope, the MAGA hats, all that. Your below zero supplies because you about to freeze to death. If you got to do all that, like, what's the point? And then you got to wait out in the cold. At that point where he wasn't there, I'd be like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and just go on back to the house. Like if my Uber would have pulled up to the spot and nobody was there, I'd have been like, sir, let's go back to the house. I don't mind paying double whatever it is. Let's go ahead and go back because I got to go right now. They want to bleach Trump. That's hilarious. Maybe there was no bleach at all. Well, that could be the case, but the police found a hot sauce bottle. They have that in evidence, so they should have been able to test that for any kind of chemical substance, including bleach. I'm not sure if they did or not, but they did find a hot sauce bottle. Now, maybe, just maybe, hear me out here, maybe the hot sauce bottle was for Jussie's sandwich. Trying to spice it up a little bit. It's cold out there. You hungry. You like, you know what? Let me get a little extra heat on this sandwich. He probably took it from his house and sprinkled it on the Subway sandwich because he did eat the sandwich. After he got so-called beat up, he went back in the house and punished that sandwich. The police found the wrapper empty there. Like, as soon as I heard that, I'm like, come on, Jussie, for real? You ate the sandwich after you so-called got beat up? All right. Thank you to H.A. Rob, who says, Anthony, UNC Charlotte happened recently. A student shot up a building, said another student tackled him and lost his life. Oh, yeah. I saw that. Yeah, I did see that. Now, I think it was just this person that jumped in front of him and died. I think that might have been the only guy that died. Or it may have been one other person. Like, it could have been much worse, but it was not. Yeah, I remember that guy because he was like, he had long hair and he was on as a protector. I remember that. Yes. That went away really quick. It seems like they only push violent events that push their narrative. Like I said about Charlottesville, they talk about that all the time. And they lie about it all the time too, talking about, oh, Trump was saying Nazis were good people. No, he didn't say that. He was clearly speaking about the reason why anybody was there on both sides of the issue of the Robert E. Lee statue. Should it stay or should it go? That's what he was talking about. Not like it wasn't just some kind of Klan rally or Nazi rally, and then it was kind of protesters. They had one of those in Ohio recently. Might have been in Akron or somewhere. I'm not really sure where that was. But anyway, they had this Klan rally. You had all of like 8 Klansmen that showed up. If that. It might have been like 6 or 7. But you had 300 protesters that showed up. And people are tripping when Trump says that white nationalism is not on the rise. It's not really a big deal. Why would you be mad at Trump for saying that when it's the obvious truth? If you have a Klan rally with 8 people that show up at max and 300 protesters, I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. There's no reason to make up anything else, any kind of lie about that whole situation. Okay. Thank you to Rich Peck, who says, ABL would love you from Calgary, Alberta. Canada is me, Troy. Hey, I appreciate that. Thank you. And shout out to NF Givens, who says, thoughts on Cruz, AOC working to limit lobbyists. I'm not actually a fan of that. I might do a video about that. I'm not really a fan. And first of all, I think AOC is talking about, well, at least have like a long period of time in between when they retire or when they leave office and when they can become a lobbyist. But why? What's the point? Like, I don't understand. You got a lot of good lobbyists. So I think they're getting support because of the negative image that lobbyists have. You have people out there that lobby for bad things, but you also got people that lobby for good things. People that lobby for pro-life initiatives. People that lobby for the NRA. The NRA has lobbyists that push gun rights. You got people that lobby for a lot of different things. So I don't think that it's a bad thing for somebody that was in Congress to become a lobbyist afterwards. And there's already a law right now. You can't be an active congressional member and be a lobbyist. That's a problem right there. You shouldn't be able to. You should crack down on people that are in office getting paid under the table, the quid pro quo stuff, like I was talking about with the Baltimore mayor. How are you on the state, what they call it, the state senate in Maryland? How are you there as a state senator a state rep? How are you a state rep, not the national, but the local Maryland? You're there getting payments from private companies to do their bidding. And when you become the mayor, you're still getting payments from private companies to do their bidding. Under the table little payments. That should be what's cracked down on. But lobbyists, you have good lobbyists out there, and then you have some bad lobbyists too, or people that lobby for bad things. But either we're going to just eliminate the practice of lobbying or we're not. I don't understand why, if you were in Congress, you can't be a lobbyist. Now, and then I don't see why would you eliminate lobbying? There's always going to be groups out there that fight for particular interests. People that fight for pro-life, pro-gun, the immigration to reform that, to get that tightened up. So I don't understand. Like my question would be, why would that be a bad thing? Why would it be bad for a person that was formerly in Congress to become a lobbyist? Lobby for liberty. That's right. Sabo lit it. Yep. Thank you to Omar Adams, who says you could be anywhere, but you are here with ABL tonight. That is 100% correct, sir. Thank you for your donation, as always. Antifa are the real fascists. That's right, the black cat. You already know what it is. Missy Matthews says, I live in Virginia and know the family of the only victim who was not a worker there. He was a contractor and was there for a permit. So sad. That's terrible. My prayers go out to the family of the person that was killed and to you as well. Hopefully you guys are able to, stay strong during the time. Yeah, it's crazy. And, you hear about mass shootings. We had Virginia Tech that happened, but that was really far away out there in Blacksburg, almost West Virginia. And it was an anomaly. It was a long time ago, but to have it happen right in Virginia Beach, it was crazy. When I saw that, like when that first came in the news, I thought it was like, because I saw it on local news, because I still get local news where I'm at now. I got it on my Facebook and stuff. So at first they were doing a live stream, and then they were saying active shooter situation, active shooter. I'm like, okay, but somebody outside shooting, and they're trying to contain that because it happened before the military base. Somebody was shooting outside, and then they had to go on lockdown. So I thought it was that same thing again. And then later on in the day, I see 11 dead. I'm like, what? It was crazy. The whole thing was crazy. So then I got to call my mom, got to call my dad. I got to see what's going on with other family members, with friends. It was wild. Yeah. Now, I don't know anybody that's involved as far as I know. I never seen Dwayne Craddock before in my life. Ironically enough, there's a neighborhood called Craddock in Portsmouth, which is like probably about a half hour from where the shooting happened. Now, I doubt that this guy Craddock and the neighborhood Craddock have anything in common with each other, but it's just kind of a weird thing. Now, luckily, you have police that are right there in the municipal building, and they were able to find the guy and put him down. That could have been much worse. Much, much worse. Now, you do have open carry in Virginia and with no license, also concealed carry. But I'm not really sure how what the rules are inside the courthouse. And in certain parts of the courthouse, you got metal detectors. You can't get like into the courtroom with a gun on you, obviously. In Portsmouth, at their courthouse, I think as soon as you come in, you got to go through the metal detector. You got to take out all your pockets and put it right there in the thing and go in there. I've been in the courthouse in Portsmouth and Chesapeake, and I think that's it. I might have been in the one in Virginia Beach before. I've been out there, but I'm not sure. I don't know if I've been inside the courthouse or not. But you do have little security measures in certain places you go. But it's not always the same thing. But I know one thing. You can go in most of these places like City Hall, and there's no security really. You might have a guard that's kind of inside, but once you it should be a guard outside posted up right in front of the entrance or the entrances to make sure you don't have any kind of active shooter. And the same thing should be for high schools, middle schools, elementary schools, colleges, etc. Because a lot of them are just kind of wide open. Same thing in Virginia Beach, Robert. Okay, so you got to go in there, put your stuff in the thing. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and get to the calls. I thank you guys for joining. We got 288 in the building. You guys on the drill. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Let me turn my desktop audio off so you guys don't hear the ringing. And shout out to the super chatters. You guys have been doing great. I really appreciate you. Thank you to Gobindo Mohan. Hopefully I didn't butcher your name, boss, who says, keep up the great work, the good work. I will do that. Thank you for your donation and your very kind words. Shout out to Jess. Thank you for your donation. Shout out to Gregory Cooper, who says, "Hey man, keep doing the excellent job. Good thoughts, prayers coming to you. Thanks and God bless all you do." Thank you for your very kind words and your donation. Definitely appreciate you. All righty, Leia, what's going on?
All right, so can you not? Oh, one sec.
All righty.
For some reason, I think my camera should be working now. Okay, can you see me?
I can see
All
you.
right. So I wanted to kind of call and talk to you today about the wonderful world of journalism in a disaster. I felt like this is something that a lot of people are interested in, and I actually had a huge experience today with disaster response journalism. So I was either going to talk about that today, or I was thinking maybe talk about this whole. I can't remember what I was going to talk about.
Okay, let's go disaster response journalism.
So I think what a lot of people don't see is that journalists, they are right there. They're listening to the scanner, and then when something happens, you literally have to pack up and go. So what I'm thinking of today, what happened today is, so do you guys remember what happened in Davenport? I think I talked about this last time.
Yeah, with the flooding.
So that actually happened today where I live.
Oh wow.
A HESCO barrier failed, something like that, along the north side of the south side of. We have these three city properties that are on the river.
Mm-hmm.
And part of them is protected by a flood wall, but the flood wall is not finished yet. So there's these two walls of so the flood wall basically is like this, and then it's supposed to be like this as well. But this portion of the flood wall is now HESCO barriers, these green HESCO barriers, and when they're underwater for so long, they're saturated, they can give way, which is what happened in Burlington. Crap, I said restaurant, but that's what happened where I'm from. And so basically what you have is you have me literally throwing everything that I can think of that I might need in my bag, getting in my car, driving to the scene, parking my car, and walking. And now this is not actually the first time that I have done disaster-related journalism. This is, I believe, the fourth time that I have done disaster-related journalism.
So hold on. So you went to the scene where the thing was actually happening?
Yeah, I did. I actually was on the scene. What was it? I was on the scene 5 minutes after the flood wall breached. And that is 5 minutes. That's basically enough time that there was the call. I packed up the stuff in my bag. I got in my car. I drove to downtown, and I found a place to park. And then there is a restaurant that's across the street from these city properties that are right on the river. And I went over there and was interviewing people literally as the water was coming into the parking lot and encroaching on the parking lot.
Wow.
And this is, a lot of people I notice will get angry at journalists who are there trying to get a story in the middle of something like this. Or another example is one time I actually had to go to a fatal train accident. And what I'll say a lot is people get really angry at journalists for trying to get the facts. And I was kind of thinking about this also in response to this tragedy that happened today with the shooting and killing of 11 people died, right?
Yes.
Is a lot of people will get angry at journalists for reporting what's going on, but people want to know what's happening. And so people will say all types of shit stuff. Sorry.
Okay. It's all right.
All sorts of bad things about journalists that do disaster response. But when you think of it, ABL, when you heard that this happened, where was the first place that you went to look and see if it was true?
To my phone, to Facebook.
Exactly, and to look at the news, to look at what people are reporting.
Correct.
And I think that a lot of people, I think that there are a lot of journalists out there that are very corrupt, that they honestly just care about their views. But I think there's also a lot of journalists that work really, really hard. I was out for 2 hours on my feet with my disability, walking back and forth, half a mile, back and forth along the riverfront, trying to interview people, trying to figure out what's going on. In the past, there's not been a photographer with me, so I've had to take pictures and text pictures and cut lines to my boss being on the phone with my boss, all of this stuff. And I think that a lot of people kind of take for granted the fact that, you know, it may seem like it, but not all journalists are what you see on CNN. You know,
Right.
like, don't get me wrong. I think that Jim Acosta is a horrible person, and there's a lot of journalists that I don't like. But there's also a lot of people that, you know, they walk around in dangerous situations to try to bring the news to people. And I think I think that's something that is really important. And I think that we forget about that in our society. That, you know, journalists, like, let me tell you what, journalists see so many things. Like, for every shooting, for every mass tragedy, whatever, you don't see the dead bodies. Guess what? There are photographers that's what their specialty is being able to take a picture where you see the devastation, you don't see the dead body. You know, when I went to this fatal train accident, which I still have problems after going to this fatal train accident, there were, like, literally dead bodies laying everywhere. Like, I can't even describe it.
Right.
And
pretty rough.
You know, it was horrible. And our photographer did an amazing job. Like, our photographer, by the way, he has won so many awards that, like, he just like, oh, I won an award. Shrug. Here, I'll just put it somewhere because I don't care that I won an award. Like, he's an amazing photographer. And he was taking these pictures, and there was this picture that he got, and it was probably the only photo that you could get that didn't have all the dead bodies in it. And I think that sometimes people get angry at journalists for showing the news without, like, remembering that journalists, like, we feel just as bad about it as everybody else that's there, as everybody that's watching at home. So I guess kind of my thing for the day is that, you know, journalists are people too. In Kansas, there was a tornado, right? I think we talked about this last time. And one of my Facebook friends was talking about how he was never ever going to watch this news channel because the people in this news channel were freaking out. Okay, there was a tornado like a mile south of where their filming location was.
So hold on, so like they were journalists, they were filming, and then a tornado was like approaching them, so they're kind of like,
and they were freaking out.
Yeah, they were afraid for their lives, probably, right?
Yeah, and they're still on TV. You know, they're still on TV because they have to still be on TV. And I have people saying, oh, well, I'm never watching them again because they're not calm during the storm. I'm like, you know, calm during the storm is really easy to do when the tornado is really far away from you. Calm during the storm is really hard to do when you have a tornado that's getting ready to rip through where you are.
Right.
It just blows my mind that I think that sometimes we forget. We forget each other's humanity, and we forget that, you know, I think that a lot of journalists are good people. And maybe I'm biased. I'm sure the chat is blowing up that I'm biased. But I guess I've always been a big believer that when Trump says fake news, he's not saying all news is fake news. I think that there's a brand of journalism that he is talking about, and it's this sensational stuff that you see on CNN, NBC, MSNBC, Fox News even.
Right.
Where, you know, not Fox News as much. Fox News is not nearly as guilty of it, but they can do it too sometimes. Where it's like all you hear about is Trump. You don't hear about all of the other horrible things that are going on in the country. You just hear about Trump because that's all they want people to talk about. And I think that that's the journalism that divides our country. And I think that that's the journalism that makes people hate journalism, is when all you do is do something like talk about Trump. Like, honestly, it's not that big of a deal.
I'm with you 100%. Well, I don't mean to cut you short here, but...
Oh, no, it's time to go. I got it. All right, guys, well, have a great night. I'll try to hit you back up on Wednesday. Oh, no, I won't be here Wednesday because I have city council meeting on Wednesday, so I'll try to be back on Saturday.
All righty. Well, thank you for the call as always. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, bye.
All right. Thank you to Leah for the call. Most certainly appreciate her. And shout out to everybody in the chat. I see somebody, what's this, finished there. Hopefully I ain't butcher your name, boss, but call on to the show. And I'm glad everybody's safe, Cynthia. I'm glad everybody's safe. All righty. And, I got something I want to show you guys right quick. First, we got a note from not the shooter, but from the shooter's family. It says, a family of Dwayne Craddock. Like this note, to give a little bit of context, I guess you had the media coming to their house all the time asking for questions. So they put a note on the front of their door at their house. It says, a family of Dwayne Craddock wishes to send our heartfelt condolences to the victims. We are grieving the loss of our loved one. At this time, we wish to focus on the victims and the lives lost during yesterday's tragic event. Our thoughts and prayers are with the families of those who lost their lives and those recovering in the hospital. The Craddox. Okay. The spelling ain't really on point, but that's a different story. But it is what it is. The family, if they weren't involved, then what can they really tell you? So it is what it is. And also, I got something from your man Jussie. Now, remember that whole thing about, they put rope on my neck, they tried to lynch me. Now, I'm not sure what you're going to lynch with this rope, which is the actual rope that was used. What are you lynching with this right here? I mean, y'all tell me, like, are you going to lynch a rat or something? I don't even think you can lynch a rat. Some of these New York rats are bust out of that right there. I mean, what is that right there? Like, what kind of rope is, like, that's like something you would have on the back of your truck tying down the mattress. Maybe. Like, that's not rope. That's like line or thread or something. They probably got that just from a store. It was like, you know what? Let's just, and you could tell they just bought it because it's still tied up. It's not even all the way untangled. Like, who was I'm about to say who was a rocket scientist who came up with this idea, but you got these two brainiacs right here, Dumb and Dumber, buying the MAGA hats, full, like, not even wearing no hats or glasses or nothing, full face, showing in the camera. I mean, now it says, according to a receipt from the Crafty Beaver, they bought this rope from the Crafty Beaver Home Center. The rope cost $2.99, so they probably got the cheapest rope that was there because these guys are broke, and it was presumably purchased by the Osandaro brothers. I mean, what in the world? This guy is a mess. And I hope his career is over because this was really just a crazy harebrained scheme. You're talking about Lucille Ball, but in real life. But I digress. 828 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, this is Hans. I just wanted to say thank you so much for taking my comment about UNC Charlotte earlier.
No problem.
The reason I brought it up is because that kid that you alluded to was actually a hero, and in the current state of media politics, a victim narrative is actually what everybody seeks to go after. I strongly believe that it wasn't given the broader coverage because we don't like to look at the positive side of things. And even in the event of a tragedy such as that, I personally witnessed the honor guard that was given to that young man on his way back to his home in Western North Carolina. It just when you brought up this Virginia shooting, it just kind of made me think of that and why we're not given more national coverage of some of these events, because there's not a narrative to go around it.
Yeah, it's no narrative because it's no narrative, and also what happened during that shooting is what we say could and should happen. The person that comes to save the day. Unfortunately, a young man was not armed. The guy that saved everyone, the actual hero, he was not armed. But we usually say that, the good guy with the gun to come in and save the day. They don't want to highlight the hero. They just want to highlight the victims. If there's a particular narrative to spin, they will not highlight victims if there's no narrative. If you have a racist white guy that can be spun as a Trump supporter or something like that who goes into a mass shooting, then everything is right there. You get victims, innocent victims. You have a person that can be vilified beyond just them being a murderer, which should be the ultimate vilification. You can say that should be the ultimate thing that you vilify somebody for, but that's not enough. You got to add something on it by saying that they're racist and all this and that. That's when it gets media coverage. And it's clear that that's happening because they keep talking about Charlottesville every single day. I've heard more about Charlottesville today than I have this most recent shooting, which is ridiculous. This shooting happened in the same state of Virginia. 11 people died, and
Absolutely.
You got more that are still critically injured. But Charlottesville, one person died. That seems to be getting still national headline coverage today.
Well, and even still, just to draw another parallel, yes, that young man wasn't armed, But I would also say that, the culture of heroism rather than victimhood and cowering in a corner, it doesn't fit the narrative that everybody's trying to fit, where, guns only breed victimhood and violence and terrible things. And exactly like you said, with this current shooting in Virginia, it doesn't fit their narrative of, there's like 5 white supremacists in the area, and so all of a sudden it's a white supremacist shooting, rather than a bunch of people who maybe were, thinking they were doing a pro-Republican rally, as it was in Charlottesville. A lot of those people didn't even know that it was kind of co-sponsored by some people who are more white nationalists.
It wasn't even that wasn't even that. What the whole thing, the whole reason why people were there was because of the statue of Robert E. Lee, because it was this whole big brouhaha around, do we take the statue down or do we keep it? That was the reason why they were there. Now, other people had events that paralleled other events that were happening at the same time in that same place. That's what caused all the problems. But if the people that, the white nationalists, all the people, if they didn't have their event, people would have still been there because of the statue of Robert E. Lee.
Right. Well, it goes to show you the kind of state we live in, where we can't even really get to the truth of anything. It all has to be based on spin, and only through discussion between ourselves and through wonderful people like yourselves can we, hopefully get to the bottom of what's really going on. So I definitely appreciate you, Anthony, and thanks for taking my call.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right. Have a good one.
Same to you. All right. Shout out to the caller. Great call. All right. Unknown caller, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, this is Alvin.
All right, Alvin, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing?
Everything's good, boss. Can't complain.
Good. Just wanted to make a couple of comments about what you're talking about today.
All right, go for it.
About the VA shooting. About I guess
Virginia.
Right now it's too early, and I don't think people should be jumping on it until actual investigation should be going on.
Yeah.
I mean, that happens a lot, and I mean, there was a time back in the days where the media was calling out that media sensationalizes things, and it was toned down, and that's what I think they're doing nowadays. They've just forgotten about it.
Forgotten about what?
Sensationalizing things.
I kind of missed your comment. I'm sorry.
Like the VA shooting?
Yeah.
I think people should just wait and see what happens, where it carries on. It's too soon to say anything about it.
Well, the thing about this is I think people aren't really making any kind of assumptions because they kind of want it to go away. It doesn't fit the narrative because the shooter is known and the victims are known. And people aren't really trying to say too much because it goes against their particular narrative. They want to say racist white Trump supporter, because if that were the case, because you got 2 incidents happened in Virginia. One was Charlottesville, where one person died, unfortunately, had to hire after being hit by a vehicle. Now, that was in Virginia, that was in Charlottesville, probably about 3 hours away from Virginia Beach, maybe a little bit more, probably about 3.5 to 4. Because I've driven from Virginia Beach to Charlottesville, so I know the distance. Now, that was, a year, 2 years ago or more? This situation happened just recently, and they're already trying to, move past it and move beyond it. But you had 11 people that died, maybe even more that may die as a result of their injuries. People just want to kind of move past it because it does not fit the narrative based upon what they know right now. So it's actually the opposite. They're not trying to hop on it. They're trying to get away from it.
Well, are you talking about on a particular identity politics? I agree with you on that.
You said what now? What do you mean?
Like, if you're a Democrat or a Republican, I agree with you that they're not going to, if you're a particular, I'm just going to say a Democrat, you're not going to agree with that rhetoric, but they're going to jump on it. The reason why I'm saying that is because they're jumping on the gun grab right now. They're always going to jump on the gun grab.
Well, yeah,
they're always talking about the gun grab already, and it's not even being investigated. It's in investigation right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean the gun grab is going to be automatic. Anytime somebody gets
Yeah,
shot, anytime anybody gets shot and it makes the news, they're going to say gun control. It don't matter what
Right.
the
That's what I
situation is.
meant. That they're jumping on a good bandwagon.
Yeah.
Now
Absolutely.
the MSNBC versus black people, man, that's just another ideology that they're just trying to push on. Just that's one of those things where it's just another excuse that they're just trying to push on to a divisive thing.
Right. I mean, it was just Mika and Joe just talking, not even really. No, that's probably how they talk normally, like in their little cocktail parties amongst their social circle. And they're
Right.
yeah, that's kind of how they talk, but they don't understand the reality of the situation. You see?
Yeah. Because I haven't really. I mean, I keep listening to them, but they really don't explain how it does. It relates to black people. Really, it's just because, in my opinion.
Right.
I mean, well, you know, and I just saw this Nancy Pelosi "kids in the hood" thing. I mean, that's a term back in the 70s.
Yeah, I was like, what?
I was like, what?
Yeah, I heard that. I was like, what is this coming from? What are you talking about? It was really weird to hear. Really, it was really cringy at best, and outright racist at worst. But it was more cringy than anything else.
Yeah, because I grew up in San Francisco, and it was like back then. That was, I mean, yeah, in the 70s. I remember that was a term, and then it became PC, I guess, where it became as a joke. I didn't even know it back then because I was still young. And it was like they called it high crime rate, low income. You know, and then it became more PC, like depressed neighborhoods.
Yeah,
You know,
like, what do they call it now? They say urban
they just
centers.
changed the phrase, but it's the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, and the funny part is that people that live in those areas don't use PC terms to describe where they live at. They say we live
Exactly.
we live in the hood or the ghetto.
Exactly. We just and either then we was on the same boat. It was like this is our place, man. I mean,
Right. It's just where we live. You know, it's not. It's no
we were
reason to be all,
kids.
yeah. It's no reason to be all PC about it. It just be real.
you know. I don't know. And Smollett and that Smollett case, I don't know, man. That's just that it never went to trial, so justice was never served, in my opinion.
I agree with you on that, and it's really a shame. But hopefully, he still has the federal charge on his head with the fake letter with the white substance on the inside, and you also have the civil suit from the Chicago police to get pay back their money for all the time and resources they spent investigating going on a wild goose chase. So hopefully that comes to fruition as well. But we'll see about that.
Yeah, well, it's just sad that you know all the tax dollars are being wasted on that. But I mean, as far as I know, the FBI is still on that. So, but
Yeah.
I mean, and hopefully they'll bring something up to it and do a federal thing with that. So,
Absolutely.
but well, thanks for having me on, and keep doing what you're doing.
Thank
Great
you for
show.
thank you for the comment. Definitely appreciate you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Shout out to the caller. Most certainly appreciate him. And somebody said that I was lying about Charlottesville. No, I wasn't. I'm from Virginia. I was in Virginia when that happened. I've been to Charlottesville. I got family in that area. I've been there. I've been going to Charlottesville since I've been a little boy. You know, like that's right off 64. Once you go on to 81, before you get to the Afton Mountain, before you get to Waynesboro and all that good stuff, you know, it's a beautiful view right there on that mountain too. Once you go up and you go on a little side, the little what they call like the little scenic view. Oh, it's beautiful up there. Absolutely beautiful. So no, I'm not lying about Charlottesville. I know all about that situation because I'm from Virginia. So if I'm lying about Charlottesville, I wonder where that person who said that is from. Are you from Virginia? Are you from Charlottesville? Charlotte. You know, people keep talking about that. I kind of get irritated because it's like, y'all know what you're talking about. People just, you know, that was the whole problem from the very beginning. It was outsiders saying things and doing things that made us look bad in Virginia. People that had no idea what they were talking about. All righty. So somebody in the chat said that. So I was just responding because I had to respond. Okay, now somebody wanted to call from 757. If you guys want to call in, I got other calls, but I'm gonna try to get you on as soon as I can. So if it's kind of like hanging up and all that, just keep trying. It's like when you call in C-SPAN or something after a debate, and you got to keep trying and trying. That's kind of how it is over here. It's the best way to go about it because I don't want to do a blog talk radio or something like that where it can kind of get weird. Alrighty, so let me go. All right, we got Uncle Reggie.
Just Uncle Reggie today. No silly characters. It's not that kind of day, you know. We had a pretty somber weekend with the tragedy and stuff going on, flooding, and I just barely survived a tornado a few minutes ago. So yeah.
Oh, you have one touchdown out there?
No, it was just all green and everything's crazy. Trees were all bent over.
Oh, okay. So it was just like one might have been creeping, but it didn't actually. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm right off the lake here, so there's no trees or anything to stop any high winds or anything like that. Just water spouts all the time. So
right.
We get little tiny, little bitty tornadoes sometimes, but yeah.
Gotcha.
I got you in my I got my little sidekick with me, so I can see you at the same time.
No doubt.
Hey, check your email while I'm yapping here. Your ABL email. I sent you a little something for this Jussie Smollett thing. A little meme that I made for you. It's one of my best works.
Okay.
Yeah. So Jussie Smollett. Yeah, we know he did it. There's no secret about that. As far as this shooter goes, and you said it in your video the other day, you're gonna have people popping up everywhere talking about actors and what they call it, crisis actors and everything. Sure enough, right in my newsfeed, some guy popped up in my suggested videos, and that's the first thing I saw was who done it, like this, and guys, jumping up and down screaming, and it did look compelling, the argument he posed. I'll leave it at that, but the guy he had a nice tan like you, I'll say that. He had your skin complaint, but I don't even see why that's even important anymore at this point in time.
Yeah, it shouldn't be important because what should be important is the safety of people that were involved, the families of people that were involved, getting them back right. The race of the person that did it shouldn't even really be the main thing. But there are certain narratives that people want to push, and when the race of the individual does not meet what they want, then they can't push their narrative. Therefore, it's going to get less coverage.
Yeah, agreed. But yeah, he was a regular guy. He wasn't, the M word. He wasn't that. He wasn't. He was regular Army, National Guard, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so things like that. He's just a regular guy. He just snapped,
And he also worked there currently because, when it first happened, I heard that he was an ex-employee disgruntled, but now he worked there currently, and he had access to that particular area that he was in because he worked there.
Yeah, he did have cards and passes and everything. I was reading into it, and yeah, you're right. The letter was like taped to the door, said, "Hey, we're sorry about what happened," and the old thoughts and prayers thing came up. So
yeah,
so there's that, that whole thing. So now the left is all triggered, and they're using that as a weapon. I guess it's kind of crazy. People are out there actually praying for people, and they're making fun of them for praying.
That's crazy.
Like that's going to get something done.
Right.
Yeah. So, and it's like they're personally attached to it. Like they're fed up with all the, so they're the new moral compass, and people that pray are insignificant, and it does nothing.
No, what the real issue is, they don't like Christianity. They don't like the Christian religion. They feel like it's the white man's religion and it's oppressive, which makes zero sense. But that's how they feel.
Well, I was just watching a video right before you came on tonight about the Aramaic language, the language of Aramaic.
Yeah,
that's the language that Jesus Christ spoke.
Oh, okay.
And Pastor of Christ, that's what he was speaking, was Aramaic, and it's very, very few people in the whole world, and it's in the middle of Syria is where they speak this language, and it's a preserved language that they're surrounded by Muslims, and they actually protect these people. Say, hey, don't mess with those people. All the stuff that's going on.
Right.
They're kind of like, they're shrouded. They do things old school, and people say, leave these people alone. Don't mess with them. Everybody, all of them leave the Aramaics alone. So, is that? Yeah. So, anyways, As far as the message, Jesse, hey, did you get that meme I made you?
Yeah, I had it on the screen too. I showed it.
Oh, did you? All right. What'd you think?
Oh, that was hilarious. The kit, 1995. You got the hot sauce, the rope, the bleach, MAGA hat, all that good stuff. Hey, if you put that on eBay, it probably would get sold, which is hilarious.
Well, shipping and handling. Shipping and handling was $59.95. Yeah. All right. So as far as your comment section go, you're doing wonderful. Everybody hit them thumbs ups, shares if you cares, please hit the shares. And that's all I got. I don't know. Jussie Smollett, whatever. But I just wanted to get in there and put 2 cents in about there was some questions and I did a little bit of in-depth studying because there was some false information out there. I just wanted to share that with you. That I was looking into it too.
All righty, man. Well, I thank you for the call as always. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, maybe next time I'll come in looking like this or something.
All right, man.
All right, brother.
Peace. All right. Shout out to my man, Uncle Reggie. That's not my uncle. That's his name on YouTube, aka Kerplunk. And shout out to I think her name is Ivana. Yes, Ivana, you volunteer EMT. Now, I'll put in the chat because I have two different numbers coming from the same area code. So are you 7574 or 7579? I want to make sure you correct one so I pick it up. Okay. Let's go. I got you next, Robert. All righty, calling you on the line, 757.
Hey, ABL, this is Rich in Virginia Beach. How you doing?
Everything's good, man. Can't complain.
Yeah, I was down there to the courthouse today checking things out, see what happened. CNN was there, NBC was there, Fox News and everybody. But that building there, that's for where people get zoning and planning and all that. Actually, I was there Thursday. We were looking at some property that we were going to buy and see if we could get zoned as a car lot. So thank God I was there Thursday and not Friday. But there's about 20 buildings over there, and most of them are full of cops with guns and everything, courthouses and jails and police stations, everything. And that's one of the few that there's no cops in there. Nobody was carrying guns, and they don't check you coming in. So I think that's what it made it easy for him to kill so many people in that building 2 over there.
Yeah, and the thing about it is he probably knew that because he works there, so he understands the whole situation as far as security is concerned. He understood how much he could do before he was to eventually get confronted by the police.
Yeah, he knew he had time to kill a bunch of people before the cops would actually get over there. Like I said, there's about 20 buildings over there, and it's all spread out. And by the time the cops got there, it was 12 people died, and that's sad. And one of them was a contractor, so he was just going there to, see if he can get his approvals and all. That's it, And it could have been me, it could have been anybody in there, And that's pretty scary.
Yeah, it's really scary. Right when it happened, I had to call my mom, call my dad, and then I got to ask about, other family, other friends that may have been in that area. Because I've been down there before, right off of Nemo. Like if you go all the way down Princeton, like past the community college, all that. I've been out there quite a few times. So it hit really close to home. Even though I'm not even there anymore, it was very close to home.
Yeah. So I just wanted to give you a call and let you know what's going on. I did go down there just to check things out and see what's going on. Make sure, see what's really going on. Make sure they're not spending too much fake news down there. But everybody's pretty much in a sad mood, and it's the worst massacre in Virginia Beach ever, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, but I thank you for the call. I definitely appreciate you.
All right. Thanks, ABL.
All right, now. All right, shout out to the caller. Hopefully we just, everybody can heal and move on from the situation. Alrighty, caller, you on the line, 7579.
Hi, this is Ivana.
All right, Ivana, we got you on.
I have to start out by saying that I am a volunteer EMT who was on her way home from work at my regular job, and I got the text message for the mass event. So
you volunteer Virginia Beach?
Yes, EMS.
Okay. Oh, before you start, my dad was a firefighter in Norfolk for like 22 years. Fun fact, but go ahead.
That's awesome. Well, like I said, I was leaving my regular job. I have a 9 to 5, and I actually get off at 4 on Fridays. And I got the text because anytime when there is an event that requires 5 or more ambulances, I believe they get they send out a mass text to people to come and help staff the units if they're low on staff. So I got the text. I had the option to go straight or to turn left, and down Princess Anne Road I went like a lunatic. And I was on scene. I did not run into the zone because, from my experience, anyone that blindly runs in gets hurt 99.9% of the time.
Yeah.
But I staged out where the mass casualty truck was, which is where the tourniquets are, which is where all the equipment is that you need to bandage a whole bunch of people. This event happened. I'm not sure what the exact definition for people is for an FF. I don't know if that's a sensitive topic to say, but I'm seeing it a lot. And to me, that would be a specific narrative needs to be in place, or certain people have to be orchestrating the event in order to play their part, if you know what I'm saying. And I don't believe this was the case here. I have friends that work in the building or around the building or within the vicinity. I actually tried to get into 911 dispatch, which is directly across the street from where this happened, and I was in that parking lot when I parked. This was a disgruntled employee. I'm not sure what happened exactly. He was talked to and I believe reprimanded, but when you're with the city, it's like you're with the union. You're not just let go. I believe this happened the day before.
Oh.
He
Okay,
became very upset.
So basically, he still worked there, but he had been reprimanded. He had been talked to, so kind of like a warning about his performance at work. Is that what's going on?
I believe it was a physical altercation, according to several people, but I do not know, and I'm not going to be one to give details that I don't truly know.
Right.
I believe the man became physical with another person on the premises and was actually reprimanded for it. Whether he was fired or not, I believe they have to go through several revenues, and he had nothing else on his record prior hand. He had been with the company or with the city for 15 years. So this was basically a disgruntled, angry employee, and he just was upset he got reprimanded or talked to and was possibly going to be terminated. And he came in. He still had a badge to get into the building. The officers on the radio, if you listen to the scanner, which the codes are not encrypted on that channel, and so anyone that knows about scanner audio, they can go and listen to it. There's several articles that have it linked. You can hear several of the officers saying they can't get in. They don't have the door key. They don't have a door pass. So he had the ability to go anywhere he wanted to, and he just happened to go on the floor that he worked on. So he basically hit that floor, which is where he worked, which is the employees he worked with, which is who he was angry with.
Okay, I see.
And the whole news media on all angles, even the local media, is stating that there's just all sorts of facts going out that aren't accurate, even the numbers of the count of who. I sat there and counted the accounts of the DOA on scene as I sat there at the scene thinking, should I go in? Should I wait? Should I go in? And I definitely counted several. I don't know if the accurate number was what I counted. It was chaotic. Typical scenes like this are chaotic on scanner traffic. I mean, yes, we're trained to do the event and to go through the event, and we did it like we should have, and it's just chaotic. So the traffic is a mess on the radio. I re-listen to it because I get into stuff like that. It's interesting to me. But in all honesty, the entire event took place based off of somebody being angry, somebody having the ability to go within the building and just being an angry person over what happened, whatever it was, and there's no other explanation for it. Everybody's trying to find some sort. It's almost like they're becoming desensitized as people based on what's happened in the previous events, and sometimes it has nothing to do with any of that. It's just simply a human being that's lost it based on what they've occurred in life, and they're at a point where they just can't, and they go ballistic. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it seems like. So I haven't heard anything about, any kind of conspiracy theory about, it was fake or anything. I've not heard that, but I'm glad you put out some facts, because I'm hearing all kind of things and all kind of pieces of information that I know just don't make any sense. So I'm glad you're able to put it out there.
People are trying to make it. I don't mean to interrupt, but it's very frustrating when people are trying to make it into an FF event. And I know sometimes people claim those as things that didn't happen, which clearly we know this happened. And then sometimes people look at it as an event where there's an agenda behind it, which is either a gun grab or whatever the agenda is. It's usually done by a certain race or a certain person against other people. And this fact being the individual being non-white, and then the people he shot, and like people are looking at it that way, and it's really not the case because of the building he was in, the level 2 stairs 2 building that he worked with those people that he shot. So that's basically all it is. He shot the people he worked with based on being angry over what occurred, and bottom line, there's nothing else to it.
That's right. So I'm glad. I thank you for calling in. Glad you're able to get out some information. Is there anything else that we should know that the media has not been saying or they got wrong about the situation?
I found it interesting that they didn't mention that the gentleman that's being portrayed on several news outlets with a green striped shirt actually had 2 gunshot wounds and jumped out of a second-story window.
Oh, okay. So he didn't. Oh, okay. So he was shot, but you thinking the fall is what killed him rather than the gunshots?
No, this is actually a different individual that's shown as being one of the victims when they're interviewing the victims, and it's just a random individual. But he looks like he just is walking, and he had just literally just jumped out the window. The suspect was apprehended in a stairwell. They cornered him in a stairwell, and they actually couldn't get to him because the door he was behind was one that he needed a key code for. And then he shot at them through the door. He actually shot a police officer, and then I believe they breached the door, and then he was taken down. I'm not sure if he got right then and there. I don't know that fact for 100%, and I wouldn't say if I didn't know 100%, but I know they encountered him in the staircase, the suspect. But this was a random other individual that was trying to flee the scene that actually jumped out of the window, and nobody said that in any of the news articles.
Okay, so hold on. So I'm kind of confused. So did the guy that hit the window, was he shot at all, or he just jumped out the window?
Yes, he was shot. He was shot in the cheek, and he was shot in his shoulder, and he jumped out the window trying to escape the gunman, and he jumped out the window. Oh,
okay. Wow. I've not heard about that until just right now. So you're giving me new information.
Yeah, that's what you asked for, something that the news hadn't mentioned and whatnot. Yeah. This was just an employee of the building that got shot twice and managed to jump out the window, and then he's shown in several news articles and on TV walking around like nothing wrong. No, I mean, he's bloody, but he definitely just had jumped out of a window.
Right.
It's not funny, but it's just a fact that nobody really managed to discuss anywhere, and I thought, something that nobody knew. So.
Well, I thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad I could help shed some light here.
Thank you for that. Really appreciate it.
Have a good night. God bless.
All right, now. Same to you. All right, great call. Great call. So if you don't know who that was a volunteer EMT, Virginia Beach, who was on the scene at this particular shooting after it happened, of course. When you have a thing like this that happens, the volunteers get a mass text to come on out and help if they're able to do so. and she was there, and she was able to see firsthand what was happening after the situation was going on. So shout out to her, and shout out to my man Kevin Duggan for the donation. Definitely appreciate you, boss. It says GG, good game. Hey, I really appreciate you guys. You guys are doing a lot. You know, without y'all, I couldn't be here. So I really thank you for that. And shout out to Mandatory Carry, who says mandatory carry saves lives, gun control kills. Fun fact, in Virginia, you have open carry with no license. That's in Virginia, and they can't take that away because it's going to be a problem. And shout out to Derek X for the donation. Definitely appreciate you. Oh, if you're on the queue, like if you're calling in and it's ringing and it hangs up, that's not me. It does it automatically if I don't come to the phone. That's just kind of how Skype is. So that's not me hanging up on you. That's just the system doing that to you. So, you know, if the phone lines are pretty busy, it may take a little while to be able to breach through. So just keep on trying, and I'll try to get to you as soon as I can. Alrighty. So, and I had somebody else that wanted to call. I think it was my man. I forget who it was. Another Virginia caller. I might have got everybody actually from Virginia. I believe I did. I'm not really sure, but I'll try to get to all you guys as soon as I can. So y'all just hang tight. Alrighty. 323 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
What's good, man? Snap Turtle.
All right, Snap Turtle. What's going on?
Can you hear me?
I hear you well.
Not much, man. Man, that's crazy what happened in Virginia, man. But I know why it happened. Okay?
Alrighty.
Things like this happen. Things like this happen because we are no longer empowered to protect ourselves anywhere we go. You know what I'm saying? All these gun-free zones are like easy work for the mass shooters. If somebody wants to commit harm to somebody, all they have to do is say, look, I can go to this place. It's a gun-free zone. No one's going to have a gun. I'm going to be the only one with the gun, so I can run up in there and just pick people off where I see fit. And this is the major problem. And this over 90% of mass shootings occur where at?
Gun-free zones.
Hello?
Yeah.
Gun-free zones.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Now,
Like,
see, in this case, they went to the courthouse, so you got police and everything in there, and that's how he was able to get stopped eventually. But the problem is,
right.
The problem is that the employees are in there basically butt naked with no way to protect themselves.
Exactly. So they got to, when seconds count, who's 2 minutes away? 4 minutes away? The
Right.
police.
Yeah.
When seconds count, the police are minutes away, man. Is this we don't have any power? You know what I mean? We go to a place of work, we go to school, and we're just there. We're vulnerable to anybody who doesn't obey the law, who wants to go up in there and do what they want to do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And this is interesting that this happened. Have you heard of the TAPS Act?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you need to look into that, ABL. TAPS Act is a new bill that the Congress or a congressman is introducing. Okay, it's called HR 838, House Resolution 838, and essentially what it is threat assessment, prevention, and safety, which is basically the Minority Report. So they're going to try to stop crimes and criminals before they commit the crime. You know what I'm saying? Or even before they even become a criminal. So let's say if this goes into effect and somebody pisses me off at work and I say, ooh, I wish I could just go upside their head. Well, then they can pull you out of your house, essentially, and make you go through psychiatric evaluations to make sure you're not a threat to anybody. And if a subjective psychiatrist wants to say, hey, it's very subjective. So it's basically left up to a state-employed psychiatrist to decide whether or not you're a threat to society. And if they deem you a threat, they can take your weapons. They can put you under observation, all kind of crazy stuff. So that's something you might want to look into.
Oh, I definitely will.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know, man. And I was thinking, man, I would like to one day try to get ABL to take the clear pill. I know you took the red pill already.
So what is the clear pill?
The clear pill is the pill of clarity. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And I talked about it before. I talked about a voluntary society. Okay. There are examples of this out there in the world, like in Iceland. Iceland is essentially, they have a form of a voluntary government. But another good example of this is in Mexico, right? It's not official, but there's a town in Mexico where the townsfolk got tired of the cartels riding roughshod over them, extorting them, raping the women and all that other stuff, and murdering the men and all kind of crazy stuff, right? So they couldn't rely on the government or the police in Mexico to protect them. So they started taking up arms, and now guess what happened? The townsfolk took up arms, and the crime went way down. They took it upon themselves, businessmen, farmers, merchants, and people like that. They just want to protect their own town. You know what I'm saying? And so they took it upon themselves to take up arms and go ahead and do that. So to me, that was a beautiful thing. I saw that. I just saw that today, and I was like, wow, that is a perfect example of the people taking their power back and not relying on the government, not relying on the police to do everything for them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. Just something to think about.
Well, I'm gonna look into it for sure. See what's going on with that.
It's in Mexico. I forgot the town. It's a very small town, but more towns are doing this. More towns, they not to say now our law enforcement agencies aren't as corrupt as they are in Mexico.
Yeah, it's pretty bad out there. It's like they pretty much they pretty much are the cartel.
Exactly. 90% of them are probably on the take, but still, it's the same principle. Like, I grew up in Compton, right? Compton, California, and it was real bad when I was growing up. But the police cannot be everywhere at once. Yeah. So people are getting away with anything. How many murders go unsolved in the hood?
Oh, a lot.
You grew up in the hood,
Yeah, like it's crazy. I mean, it's always somebody that got killed and nobody knows who did it, but everybody know.
Nobody's talking.
Ain't nobody talking, but everybody know. Yeah.
Nope. Nobody snitching, right?
Yeah.
Oh, don't snitch. Me, if I see something, I'm snitching. I don't care.
Right.
I grew up with the no snitching mentality, no snitching thing, but it's getting crazy, it's getting out of control. And so there's in Texas, there's a rifle club, a black rifle club that patrol their own neighborhoods to keep it safe. So that's just another example. Another example is in Detroit. I don't know if you remember when Detroit went bankrupt, a lot of the police officers left, right? And the response times were like 2 days.
Oh yeah, like they're basically not going to come. If you got a problem, just you better handle it on your own. Matter of fact, I saw the police chief probably about 2 years ago. He came out on TV and said, "Hey, we can't
arm yourself.
Arm yourself. we can't be there. Get a gun. Arm yourself."
And you know what happened though? Since then, they hired private police forces.
Okay.
To protect their neighborhoods.
Yeah.
So what you have is competition.
Yeah.
Right? Competition breeds efficiency because they want to be the best, so they get the job. See, when all these municipal services are monopolies, and so they don't really care because they know, we all you got.
Yeah.
But in Detroit, it's a perfect example. I mean, these guys are making millions of dollars a year. These security forces. Right. You know what I'm saying? In Detroit. So that's something I suggest you look into as well. It's to me, it's a beautiful thing when conditions break down, we can step up and take care of ourselves. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, my thoughts and prayers go out to the people who died in Virginia and their families, which probably isn't good enough for liberals, but oh well, they can suck it. Anyway. I'll holler at you later, ABL.
All right, thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
No problem, man.
All right, peace. All right, great call. Shout out to my man. All right, you're on the line, 7574. Caller, can you hear me? 7574. I'm on the line with you right now. Can you hear me? I know you've been trying to get on for a while, so I'm going to try to hang in there. All right. I cannot hear you. So I got to hang up. I'm sorry. All right. I had a caller on the line. I don't know what happened. Maybe something was wrong with the connection. Or maybe you're trying to look at the screen. If anybody calls in and you're trying to look at the screen, there's going to be a delay. So don't look at the screen when you're trying to talk. Just keep your ear to the phone. So when I answer, you'll be able to, know what's going on. Excuse me. But shout out to everybody in the chat. How many we got in here? We got 361. Good money. All right. And before I continue, I don't know if I said it, but thanks to Ivana for being a volunteer. I really, really appreciate you for doing that, because I know it can be rough, because I was trying to be a firefighter myself, and I was hearing stories from my dad about, when you go to a scene and you see somebody that's been injured, you got to ventilate, and you got to keep yourself calm, and you got your regular job and you're out there volunteering. So thank you for doing what you do. You do a great service to the community. So thank you for that. All righty. Let me see what I got. Let's go. 219 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hi, ABL. This is Tony Keek.
All righty. What's going on?
Hello?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Hey. Yeah, I can hear you.
All righty. What's going on?
Not much, man. I've been listening to you for about over a year. I live in Valparaiso, Indiana. And I live about 25 minutes away from Lake Michigan,
Okay.
And do you remember when the Brett Kavanaugh thing was going on, when he was getting accused?
Yeah.
Well, a funny thing came in the paper. I went up into the Dollar General store up in where I'm at. And an article was in the paper. Not too many people know about this, but he has a cousin named Diana. Well, she lives by Long Beach. Well, it's a big old beach town. Well, they were talking about it, and she's in her 60s. Well, her dad's named Ray, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he got into real estate back in the 1960s, you see. And he's friends with, they take a wild guess of how he got involved in the real estate. Just take a wild guess.
I have no clue. I'm not really, I don't know.
Fred Trump.
Fred
Trump got Ray Kavanaugh into the real estate business back in the 60s. So they moved into Indiana probably about 1969.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that kind of gave a clue who Trump was going to pick.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So her cousin was in the article in the newspaper was, there's no way in heck that he could treat a woman like that. So the whole thing is, what I think is going on, the whole Russian thing, is this all set up or what? I think Feinstein had something to do with setting Kavanaugh up and setting this whole thing to, set him up to get him out. I don't think he has any. I have many friends that are very religious, wouldn't touch no one. But that was just something I wanted to share with you. And I wanted. So, have you ever heard of a town called Harper's Ferry?
West Virginia?
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Well, the funny thing is, that's my great-grandma's lineage. That's my family.
Okay, I come from Kanawha County, Charleston, so we're not too far away from you.
Yeah, so my great-grandma was a Harper. She's probably one of the last ones to ever. She was born in 1887. That's basically how it all got started, and Thomas Jefferson named the town after it, and George Washington sold the town in 1799. So,
okay.
So that's kind of how I became more my red pill moment is more through that because of the whole, and plus my great grandma's father served under Lincoln under the Civil War in the Union Army in the Navy, so he was a lieutenant. And to prove it, his name is John Wilson Harper. Okay.
Okay.
So I went through kept on looking all online and everything, and that's pretty much a good story to tell. And I've been hearing this story for 20 some years until the last few years I've seen it, and the name is on the family tree or whatever of them. So if y'all think that, if these liberals think out there that, okay, conservatives are racist and this, that, and the other, well, think about where all the real reason why Sandusky, Ohio is famous for historically. Well, that's where all the black people, all the slaves came through the ferry on Harper's Ferry and went down the Shenandoah into the middle of Ohio. And so all these people were also conservative. So that's why Ohio is a red state, things like that. So it's kind of jarring to listen to all their nonsense, race-baiting nonsense, like they call you racist, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, so that's another thing. My mom was involved in politics for 30 plus years. And so she goes down to Indianapolis and she knows a lot of people that represent the state of Indiana. Well, she had dinner with Pence. Pence is a nice guy. Everything, there's not too much bad to say about him.
Was his wife there, or was he married at this time?
It was back in 02. So
okay.
She got out in 03. And the bad thing about politics is when you run for office, it's the same thing at local level or the county level or the township level. So she was a trustee, just, helping, doing poor relief and stuff like that. Your opponent will just make up stuff about you. That's how it all goes. I'm like, okay. I never really was paid into that, but
no doubt. I'm gonna cut you off, but I got a lot of calls on the line, so I'm gonna try to get to a few more.
All right, man. You have a good night. It's great listening to your show and everything. Good luck to you in the future. It was great to see you at Young Back Leadership Summit back in October. So I hope you guys go again and everything like that.
But we're going to do it again coming up really soon. I'll let you guys know as soon as we get a solid date, but we are doing it again this year for sure.
All right.
All right now.
God bless, man.
All right, take care.
Bye.
All right, shout out to the caller. I'm going to certainly appreciate him. And shout out to Kevin Duggan, who says, at Derek Cheater, DERIC, Cheater, one word, at Derek Cheater on Twitter, at me, why not? Hey, there you go. We want to add him. Go ahead and do that. And he's still in the chat, so y'all go for it. And thank you all for the calls and all the chats. We got 325 live in the building. You guys have been great tonight. And did I get her? Okay, I got everybody. And the person from Virginia was trying to call. I'm not really sure what happened. I had them on the line, but I guess if they didn't hear me, they probably were looking at the screen. So in case the person didn't say, when you call in, make sure that you have your ear to the phone so you can hear me when I say caller from XYZ area code. Shout out to Zedo just came sore. Thank you for joining the chat, boss. Alrighty.
Hello.
All right. Okay. Nippin.
Yeah.
What's going on, man? Like, are you becoming radicalized? Do I gotta call?
I just thought I'd do it as a joke.
Do I gotta call the Queen Mum and tell her what's going on?
No, I just thought I'd do it as a joke.
Okay, all right. All righty, but what's going on, man? Everything's good?
Here we go.
All right, there we go. That's more like it. That's better.
I just thought I'd do it as a joke.
No doubt.
So, Nancy Pelosi inciting violence yet again.
Oh, you think so? It's like
Kids in the hood. If Trump doesn't behave, neither will the kids in the hood. Yeah, that sounds like inciting violence to me.
Yeah, because she was talking about, when the kids in the hood get confronted by the police, all this and that. It's like, okay, Nippy, we got a lot of noise going on, so let's just be.
Sorry, I was just setting up my picnic for later on.
Oh, yeah, you got it. What you got? You got some tea? You got some crumpets? What's happening?
Well, snapping rice cakes and potato chips.
Okay, I got you.
So, the Virginia shooting. Was this anything to do with Charlottesville?
No, but the media, they keep bringing up Charlottesville, but nah, this was in Virginia Beach. It's about 3.5 hours away from Charlottesville. Probably about almost 4 hours away.
Virginia Beach. Isn't that where you used to live?
Yes.
Thought so.
Yeah, it was at it was like at the courthouse in Virginia Beach. A current employee came to the courthouse and started shooting people that he was angry with because he got reprimanded a little bit before that.
So, was the shooter a Democrat, a Trump supporter?
That's not known yet.
Okay.
And I think it was really because he was a disgruntled worker.
And he just wanted to take his anger issues out on people, is it?
Yes.
I don't think shooting up a town hall is the best idea for it.
I agree with you. But that guy, just crazy. Crazy people do crazy things.
Yeah. And MSNBC claiming black people will not vote for Trump. Black people and non-white. No. Sorry. This hat is on me for a reason. I mean, I'm not allowed to vote, but he'll have my endorsement. Right. I mean, I'd probably send him. Send him a donation, but you have to be a U.S. citizen to do that.
Well, I'm not sure. Like, is that true?
I don't know.
Well, hey, if it's not legal, don't do it.
If I can, I will.
Yeah.
It's not fitting on my head.
Hey, it looks good over here, man.
Yeah. Fortunately, this is the only place I can wear my hat. Wear this hat.
Yeah.
Get milkshaked. I'll probably get milkshaked if I wore it in public.
Yeah, you'll want to have that happen because it's pretty serious out there in London town.
Yeah. But if you go to places like Lincoln or I don't know, Lincoln, not Yorkshire because they're full of liberals.
Right.
Probably Kent or Surrey or Essex.
Okay.
They're the best places to be a Brexiteer and a Trump supporter.
Right.
But in all honesty, there are really no safe havens for being a Trump supporter in the UK. I mean, in the States, you have Kansas, you have Wyoming, you have... Yeah, you have pretty much all of the Great Plains, Texas, Alabama, heck, even parts of Maine.
It really depends on where you live because you can live in New York State. If you're living in the city, it might be kind of hard to be a Trump supporter. But if you're living outside of the city, you pretty much get to go.
Yeah.
California the same way. If you're living in Los Angeles, maybe not so much. San Francisco, not so much. But if you're living in like...
I'll probably be lucky to be alive if I wear this in Los Angeles, to be fair.
Yeah, it'd be rough in Los Angeles. But if you go outside of Los Angeles, you go, further inland, inland empire, like almost Arizona, Nevada, then you get to go.
Yeah, but Arizona is getting dodgy, to say the least. I mean, they're a purple state now.
Well, I mean, I don't know. When I was there last, it was pretty cool. I had my MAGA hat on, and I was getting a lot of thumbs up, and everybody was cool.
By a purple state, I meant...
I know politically, yeah.
Politically, they have quite a few Democrats in Congress. They have a Democratic senator. Yeah, it's still safe, but it's not going to be safe for long. I'll tell you that.
Well, hey, we'll see. We'll see about that. I think, what could be happening is that you're getting a lot of Californians that are leaving Los Angeles, San Francisco, and going to Arizona or Texas too. But Texas is so big and it's so deeply red. It'd be hard for Californians to change that by themselves. It'll take a lot more than just them moving to Austin and stuff like that to change the demographics voting wise.
Wouldn't it be awesome if a huge shift happened in which the likes of California, New York, the Northeast, all voting Republican, and then the likes of Kansas, Wyoming, Idaho, the South, all voting Democrat?
That'd be pretty crazy.
Yeah, imagine you getting most of the votes.
Hey, that'd be something.
Yeah, but to be fair, I think I have more chances of getting elected than that ever happening. But then again, if you look at history kind of repeats itself.
Mm-hmm.
1876 was the last time the South went to a Republican.
Oh, wow.
Then and it was Republican it was Democratic until 1976.
Okay.
Where Jimmy Carter was the last Democrat to win the state, to win the South.
Okay.
So 2076, do you see the pattern?
Yeah, it could change. I mean, we got to see about that. We got to see how society changes and advances in the future for that to.
So yeah, it would be so weird. In your opinion, what would be weirder? A red California or a blue Louisiana? What would be weirder in your opinion?
Red California.
Yeah.
For sure, yeah.
So, and Jussie Smollett, hasn't he been cancelled like a long time ago?
Apparently, but there's still more news coming from him because they reviewed the case files on him, and they said that the whole bleach throwing incident, allegedly the brothers that, the big Nigerian guys, they put some bleach in a hot sauce bottle and they threw it on him in the outside of his apartment.
Why?
Your guess is as good as mine. I don't know why they would do that. I'm not
sure.
I'm not sure
what kind of person Jussie Smollett is. Is he a Trump supporter? Is he a Hillary person?
Oh, he's a big time never Trumper.
Then why is he getting hate from both sides? I mean, the Republicans and the right, fair enough, because he's a never Trumper. But why is he getting hate from, well, the left as well?
Because he lied about the hate crime and he got found out. So now it's like they're embarrassed because they wanted to support him. If the hate crime was real, they would have been in his corner, and they were in his corner. But then
now he's just stuck with no supporters. The left is now against him. The right hated him in the first place.
That's right. So he's pretty much
he's basically stuck in limbo.
He's in limbo. That's correct. A man without a country.
Yep. So yeah, in the middle, no support from either side.
That's right, 100%. It's wild, but I don't mean cut you right here, boss. But I got a lot more calls on the line.
Well, do not report me to the cops.
I'm not. Hey man, you good to go.
For this.
Nah, you're fine over here, man. I know it's a joke, so you good to go. Don't even worry about it.
I wasn't trying to radicalize myself as Antifa. Don't worry. I just thought it would be a good joke.
No doubt.
Yeah, I might do that again sometime.
Well, hey man, I appreciate you for the call as always.
Anyway, it was nice catching up with you.
Oh, likewise.
I shall most likely, I shall see you on Thursday.
Alrighty, Wednesday my time, Thursday your time. Got you.
Yeah. I'll see you Thursday.
All right, Dan. Appreciate the call.
Peace.
Peace. All right. Thank you, Snippet, for the call. Most certainly appreciate him. And shout out to everybody in the chat. You guys are great. People are saying, they're trying to. No, I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm trying to be just good. All right. Let me see. Jussie Smollett wasted police time and resources to enhance his career. They could have been solving actual crimes. That's 100% correct, Amanda. 1,000%. Yeah, that's the thing about California, Nico. It's mostly red, but you get the big cities that are pulling the strings. It's the same thing pretty much everywhere. If you look at a map of the blue counties in America, it ain't that many, but they're very populous. That's the problem. That's why they would change the whole state's voting pattern based upon all the people that are in one small little area. The big cities where all the commerce is at, where a lot of commerce is at, not necessarily all the commerce, but a lot of commerce. All righty, let me get to my next call here. 773, you on the line. Who am I speaking to?
ABL, what's up? It's Windy City.
All right, Windy City, what's going on?
Hey, I'm good, man. How you doing?
Everything's great, man. Can't complain.
I like, dude, that 1776 We the People flag you got back there. That thing is sick, man. That's awesome.
Hey, I appreciate that, man. I had this custom made. I just had an idea to put it together, and it came out perfect just the way I wanted.
It looks like one of your hats. Some of the gear that you're selling, dude. It looks sick, man.
Yeah, man. I made the hats to kind of go hand in hand with the flag because I knew I would be getting the flag, so it was like, okay, let me do the hats too. Just kind of make it all kind of work together.
Yeah. No, you did a great job, man. It looks amazing.
Appreciate it.
So I just want to send prayers out to everyone that got killed pointlessly in Virginia.
Yeah.
Basically, unfortunately, I mean, it's not a real complicated story. The guy was a loser and came back and just pure evil, man.
That's right.
Pure evil. And unfortunately, a bunch of innocent people are no longer with us.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I just want to put my prayers out to them. There is, because there is a high level of these style of shootings, there is a national, training that's going on. They're trying to put, a standard or a protocol for first responders to respond to these type of scenarios.
Matter of fact, I think somebody I know out there in Virginia, they were going to do a training today for that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I can't give you any details about it. I have done that training.
Right.
But it's pretty good, though, that the government is stepping in and they're trying to make it a national-wide thing. Well, they are making it a national-wide thing and mainstreaming it. So no matter where you are in the country, if you're a first responder, you kind of already know what the local authorities, what strategies and techniques they're going to be using in that type of scenario. So it just makes it because something like that, the other caller called in earlier, when seconds matter, the police are minutes away, it's all about time. It's all about quick response. The sooner you get there, the more lives can be saved.
That's right.
So, all I can say is that the training is basically based on being as fast as possible.
Absolutely.
But it's a good thing that, they're stepping it up and trying to make it at least a little safer. And this caller touched on another thing. He talked about gun-free zones. Total failure. These guys are going where they know it's like shooting fish in a barrel. Chicago's a perfect example. Gun-free zones don't mean nothing.
That's right.
This means there's a bunch of innocent victims that can't defend themselves. That's what it means.
And it's crazy. People talking about, always they say gun control. That's the answer after all these events. But they don't know how many lives have been saved by people being able to arm themselves. Just from the deterrent of having the gun can sometimes be enough. It could be enough to save your life. When people don't have their guns, like you said, they're just sitting ducks. They're fishing the barrel, and it's really a shame.
It's obvious that the technique that they're using now isn't working at all. So a practical person would say maybe we should do the exact opposite and get the exact opposite results.
That's right.
But when you're talking about the loony left, all logic goes out the window, as we all know.
Exactly.
That MSNBC versus black people, that's just a form of voter suppression. That's all it is. Just like when they were saying Hillary Clinton was going to win by 99% or 100%, and they were just trying to get people not to go vote. Same thing, trying to get maybe some minorities, blacks or whatever, that are thinking about voting for Trump to change their mind. That's all it was about.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it seemed like. You know, to put it out there, to have it be like a way of intimidation, just like rather than saying don't vote for Trump, they're trying to lay out the case why you shouldn't. But the actual end goal is to say don't do it.
No, right. It's ridiculous. And then they got the nerve to talk about voter ID laws are suppressing minority votes and all this. It's like basically you said minorities are too stupid to get an ID. That's what you're saying.
100% correct. And that's crazy.
It's so goofy. There's no logic behind it. They're such hypocrites.
It's so crazy to see that, because it's like, all right, how hard is it to get an ID? And they don't say that for anything else. You know, there's plenty of things that every person has to have access to at a certain point in time. It's like, how are we driving cars with no ID? How are we buying any kind of beer?
How are illegals getting temporary driver's license in the state of Illinois?
I heard about that. Now, is that actually happening? Like they're getting?
Oh yeah, they get licensed, man. It's like instead of the background behind your photo, I think standard is blue. If you're under 21, it's like red. The background of your picture, where your face, where your headshot is, your picture or whatever, and then theirs is purple. And then it says not to be used as a form of identification. Dude, but think about that. You could get a temporary voter or temporary driver's license. That's what it's called, even though it lasts like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And all you need to vote is an ID.
Right.
So it don't take a genius to put 2 and 2 together what they're doing.
Exactly. 100% correct. I mean, yeah, they're trying to like that. That's going to be, they're already doing that right now in California. They're just kind of easing it in there. They're allowing illegals to vote in small local elections. And then they want to just respond to any kind of criticism talking about, oh, it's only a small election. It's not really a big deal. It's like, no, it doesn't matter how big or small it is. It's an election. People are able to vote for a person that's going to be appointed by the city government. You can't have that happen, because the next step is going to be, okay, how about you vote for the president? Let's have that be next. How about that? That's what it's going to be.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's baby steps.
Yeah.
Baby steps. And then what was the other one? Oh, the Jussie Smollett thing. Well, kind of like how the Virginia shooting that just happened doesn't fit the narrative. What happened was when Smollett made his hoax, his hate crime hoax.
Yeah.
The mayor came on TV and he was all amped up. You know, it was Rahm Emanuel at the time. Now we have Lori Lightfoot. And he was like, we will not stand for this type of behavior, gay black men being attacked in Chicago, blah, 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 this, and that, because he was virtue signaling to the 10th power, because deep down inside he wanted it to be some Trump supporters.
Yeah.
And he's the one that told CPD, oh, you need to assign 20 detectives or whatever. They went way over the top with it, which is a bunch of crap, because if ABL's in Chicago and gets his head knocked in and robbed, they're going to take a report and be like, yeah, we'll call you, don't call us. We'll let you know if we find anything. And that's the end of the story. You're sitting there, you know, so, like, why did this guy get special treatment? And, like, what he did was a dirtbag move, but I don't think that they should be able to sue him for the money, because if I'm his lawyer, I'll be like, hey, you're the one that told all these detectives to go on the case, not us.
Okay, I see what you mean.
You were trying to virtue signal and try to get a political win, score a little tally point, you know, on your point spreadsheet or whatever.
See, I didn't even see it from that point of view, but it makes perfect sense. Like, they're trying to go above and beyond to prove a point, and trying to say this is what happens from Trump supporters. This is why Trump is a bad person. And then that particular narrative was not able to be proven. Now they got egg in their face. So
yeah, well,
what do you do now?
Exactly. They were like, I'm telling you, they were like, probably like, oh, we finally got it. We're going to catch these Trump supporters, and they beat up a gay black man, and this fits every little category of the virtue signaling virtue tree, or whatever you want to call it.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah. And then did you see the guy that set himself on fire in front of the White House?
I saw that. That was crazy. He died too. That was wild.
Dude, it's not even that serious. Give me a break.
Like, what is the problem? Like, and I saw him walking. I'm like, wait a minute. How are you upright, sir? You're on fire. How are you walking around? I thought it was like, if you ever see some of these stunt guys and they have
like
on
a
this
fire suit or something.
Yeah, I thought it was something like that because the guy was walking. Like, if I see somebody engulfed in flames, I'm thinking, okay, you're going to be stop, dropping, and rolling something. You're not going to be just walking around like nothing wrong. But nah, he was on fire for real and he died. That was crazy.
I've seen I read parts of an article, and I wish I could tell you who wrote it or whatever, so we can get the source or whatever. But I can't remember off my head. But the guy was all jacked up on some type of drugs, and his family had reported him missing. So it sounds like he was kind of a weak mentally right off the bat, and then maybe something just pushing him over the edge, and But he was definitely on some type of drugs. They said when I guess they did the autopsy and all that.
Oh yeah, you got to be.
I'm thinking that's why he had the ability to like just walk around like nothing was going on.
Yeah, that makes sense because if you're not on drugs, I mean, I'm not sure how you're able to walk around when you're completely on fire. It goes
just chilling.
Yeah, it goes against your brain's natural function to want to just
your human nature.
Yeah, your human nature, right?
Survival nature.
Correct.
And so I just want to tell everybody, stay positive, man. Don't believe the media. Things aren't as bad as they seem. America's doing great. The economy's doing great. Everybody's working. They're just building up this mass hysteria to try to freak people out because they know everybody's suffering from Trump derangement syndrome. So I want to just touch real quick on a couple positive things before I hang the phone up. I don't know if you heard that CNN fired another whole division of their news outlet because their ratings are so pathetic.
Now, I keep hearing about layoffs. It's like I'm not really sure which one came first or what because it's always something else. The problem is that they keep harping on Trump this, Trump that, about all this negative stuff, and they're putting out a lot of fake information as well to the point where they're becoming less credible. So people are like, why watch this? What's the point? I can go on the internet, find me something better. I can go read other things.
I can find the ABL show on YouTube.
There you go. You can find me. Why watch why watch CNN? What's the point? ESPN too, but definitely not CNN.
Yeah, and then what was the other thing? Oh, I don't know if you know, but the wall going up.
Oh yeah,
you see how we built the wall? They were all hurt over that too. So the wall's going up. I mean, the borders, it's a hot mess right now, but Trump's trying to pull the reins in on it. Just stay positive, people. And there's a people that do polls, and they were like the most accurate one for 2016, and they're predicting that Trump's going to win.
Oh, yeah.
They're already predicting it. I mean, Biden, he was just touching on another little girl. Dude, this guy is a freaking nut. Oh, my God.
And, the crazy part is that he said that he wasn't going to do that anymore. He said that, okay, I'm going to respect women's spaces. I'm not going to be so handsy, this, that, and the third. But he can't help himself. That right there is a guy that has a problem. He has a problem.
That's good old Uncle Joe. That's Uncle Joey.
That's him right there. If you got your kids, hide your wife, hide everybody because this guy is going to touch on them.
You know what? And I just touch on that real quick, too. Old Nancy Pelosi, dude, I love her. The comic, she's hilarious. And then sometimes she comes out when she doesn't take her dementia medicine or whatever med she's taking, and she's stumbling all along. Oh, my God, I think it's hilarious.
It is. It really is. And I'm glad that she's Speaker of the House. When Trump kind of like endorsed her to be the Speaker of the House, I understood what he was doing. It's like, okay, she's going to get out there and be stumbling and bumbling, and it'd be an embarrassment to the Democratic Party. So that was a great endorsement from him.
Yeah, the only thing I'm hoping is that, Trump will reelect, but that doesn't mean everybody that's listening, you make sure you get out and vote. But I think it's 2022 when was the Senate goes back up. They got to get the House back or whatever.
Well, the House is 2020, yeah.
We got to get the House back. We get some Republicans in there, get rid of some of these rhinos and these never-Trumpers, boom, and things will start moving. This place will blow up, man, in a positive direction.
Absolutely.
Because if you think about it, Trump's getting nothing but resistance, but things are turning out pretty good. If they let the man do his job and start harping on stuff that the average American don't care about, we'd be rolling even more dough right now.
That's right.
But, yeah, I've been on here for a while. I appreciate you taking my call, and like I said, God bless, man, and my prayers go out to the people in Virginia.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right. Take it easy, ABL. Good talking to you.
All right. Likewise. All righty. Shout out to my man, Winning City, for the call. Most certainly appreciate him. All righty. Let me get to my next call here. 419, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, it's Happy from Ohio.
All righty. What's going on?
Hey, man, I just want you to know, long-time viewer, listener, love what you do, man. You're a truther, and I just want you to know that it's appreciated.
Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Hey, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the Jussie Smollett thing.
Okay.
My biggest concern about all of this is I grew up in Chicago. It's not the best place, and it's definitely gotten worse since I was a child. But what happens to these people, like, the prosecutor? What she bends the rules, she breaks the rules. What happens to her? Like, why do we, if we were to do that, an average person, when I say we, if we were to break any rules whatsoever, they're coming for us.
That's right.
Like, why is it okay for somebody that makes six figures, they get to break any rule and just get to walk away from it without any consequence?
Yeah, that's a very good point, because there definitely should be some kind of consequence there. It shouldn't just be, okay, because you got some money, you can just get away with whatever you want. There most certainly should be a consequence.
Well, and then that's actually kind of like, it's like they're like a clique, because, Jussie Smollett was friends with, somebody who was friends with the Obamas, or was friends with the Obamas, from what I read or saw. But, he's obviously a rich person, $10,000 bail, he can drop that in a heartbeat, where, like, me, an average man, I can't come up with 10 grand. Like, I mean, I might be able to, but I got to mortgage my house and do all kinds of different things. My wife's going to hate me,
Right.
But I just wanted to kind of, get your kind of opinion on, the whole thing with these prosecutors and these, these high up officials that just going to walk away.
Yeah, that definitely shouldn't be the case. If you're out here doing the wrong thing, I don't care what position of power that you have, you should be held accountable for what you do. 100%.
Heck yeah, man. Well, I just wanted you to know, man, I love everything you do. Keep up the truth, bro. And good one. Have a good one.
All right, thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Shout out to the caller, and shout out to everybody in the chat. Somebody says, oh, my man, what was that, Kevin Duggan, who says ABL merch. I'll be putting some more merch out really soon. I got an idea for a shirt. I think you guys will enjoy it. It's a pretty funny one. And I'll probably do some more hats too. Oh, these hats, the 1776 flags hats have been flying off the shelves, and so have the We the People. I also have a shirt that says We the People on it as well. I'll be wearing that shirt coming up here in my next videos. Y'all just stay tuned for that one. Let me get to my next call. Mike from Queens, what's happening?
What's going on, Anthony? How you doing?
Everything's good, man. Can't complain.
Sounds good, man. Excuse the parrot in the background. What do you call it? Aaron, I wanted to bring up, I don't know if you discussed it this evening. I just got in now. Alan Dershowitz wrote a op-ed. I don't know if it was on FoxNews.com or if it was in the New York Times, one of the publications, saying that if they try to impeach Trump, they said there's a good case that the Supreme Court could step in and declare it unconstitutional.
Well, I mean, like, why did he say that could happen? Like, what was his explanation?
Well, I don't know. I didn't read it. I thought maybe you might have saw that. Maybe you dabbled into it. That's why I'm asking you if you heard.
I've not heard about that. I'm gonna check it out and see what's going on. But I mean, one thing that I did hear is that if you got people talking about they're going to impeach him before any kind of investigation, before any kind of knowledge of an offense that could be impeachable, then they may not even really be able to vote on it. So, the whole impeachment thing actually may not be able to happen. Even if it were unconstitutional, it may not even be able to actually happen. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, because it's just if you're going to impeach, it's basically on false charges because the Mueller investigation is over. I mean, basically, Mueller just left a line out there with some bait on it for the Democrats because they're getting all their they're getting all their hopes up. Oh, he didn't it wasn't the job of him to exonerate him. All his job was to do an investigation, and that was it. He didn't find nothing. You move on.
That's right. That's right. I mean,
And
go ahead.
I'm sorry. The Democrats are so stupid because just because you impeach the president doesn't mean removal from office. And the Republicans in the Senate are not going to go along with it.
Exactly. People, I think they're saying that a lot of times because they feel like the regular everyday people out there don't know that. They think impeachment means you're going to be kicked out of the White House. That's not how that works. People don't understand that Bill Clinton did in fact get impeached, but he was not removed from office. It was an investigation. It was a process that was unsuccessful. And it'll be the same thing here. If it goes to the point of impeachment, it won't be successful.
And you know what? When it comes down to it, the Democrats don't have the balls to impeach the president.
That's right. They don't. They're not really going to be able to do that.
They don't have the balls because they know it's not popular with the everyday average, voter that basically meant that, it's not going to be effective. These are the same people that are being polled that are saying, well, let's just move on from the investigation. These are the same people that don't want the president impeached because they realize it's toxic for the country and nothing is going to get done.
Right.
We want to see results. We want to see, the Congress come together on legislation. Like, look at the two strange bedfellows. What was it? Occasional Cortex and Cruz talking about what was it? A bill about
ex-Congress lobbying.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So
that's.
So it does make for strange bedfellows.
It definitely does. But people are just trying to get stuff done, and if you're not trying to get things done, if you're just interested in, trying to derail the administration, trying to go on these phony witch hunts, then you're not going to be what the country's going to want going forward. They're going to leave you behind, and that's going to really damage them coming up in the elections. They're trying to get back in those seats and they're trying to maintain power. They're not going to be able to do it.
Yeah, and I'm disappointed with the Republicans in the Senate. After Mueller came out with his statement, the other day, there were crickets for them. You have a president in power that needs all the help that he can, because with the assault from the left, you think they would have stepped up and supported him.
That should have been what happened, but you got a lot of people over there that are still kind of in this old never Trump mind state, so they may not want to be out there on the front line, kind of betraying what they think on the inside, which is really just betraying the country because you're not supporting the actual president, the guy that's running the country.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? He's I would say about 95% of the Republican Party now is Trump populists. It's not that he really pushed out the the old establishment that was there.
Yeah, pretty much.
Look at him yesterday. He he tweeted out to celebrate the Gay Pride Month or whatever. He's the first president to do that.
Right.
And that's everything. Everybody thinks that he's he's not really a Republican. He's more of a New York business Democrat, and he's a populist. All right, he's conservative with certain things, and the way he's done with the he seems to be more pro-life, but that's to satisfy the evangelical part of the Republican Party. But for the most part, the independents voted for him because of the the populist message.
Right. Absolutely.
So, all right. Well, I'm gonna keep it at that, and have a good weekend, Anthony. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Got it. Have a good night.
All right. Thank you to Mike from Queens for the call. Most certainly appreciate him.
Oh.
Nico, what's happening?
Hello, Anthony. Can you hear me fine?
I hear you well.
All right, testing. Well, it's been the last 2 busy weekends, but it's all good. It's all good. There's actually been a lot that I've seen on my mind. Oh, and by the way, if you have Netflix, if you like Castlevania, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you like the video games, you really need to check out the anime, by the way. It's probably perhaps the best anime I've seen in a long time. The Netflix series.
I've seen some of that. It's pretty good on Netflix. I've seen some of it.
Well, you're missing out. But anywho, so yes, I just want to catch up on some things. I want to say about the Jussie Smollett dude. So you know what I find kind of ironic here is that Lori Loughlin, right? Who's in her infamous college scandal.
Yeah.
You know how people are. The thing that kind of doesn't get to me, or the thing that kind of irks me a bit, is that I think Jussie Smollett deserves worse than Lori Loughlin. But that's probably me, because what Lori did, she didn't basically harmed, and I mean, I know what she did, she was cheating and it was illegal, but I didn't think she was putting anyone in danger per se, where Jussie, he was basically siphoned away all the police sources for nothing.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely put people in actual danger, because imagine if you were a white person in Chicago, you may be conservative, and you were found out in the street when this happened. Let's just say the person didn't know what was going on. They could have been in some real danger. And then, like you said about the police resources, those are being siphoned away from actual crimes on the street. But all Lori Loughlin did was just kind of do something that was illegal, but it was not really that serious.
I know, but yet people are treating it like it's serious. But yet the media and the system is treating it like it's a serious thing, like she was running some sex trafficking ring or something like that. And then they say that she could risk being sentenced to 40 years.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
I mean, over that, yet you're being very loose on Jussie. I think it should be the other way around.
Well, yeah, that makes sense to me.
All right. Oh, and by the way, I want to talk about something. I don't think there's something you have talked about. So the city, the city Birmingham, which is in England, right?
Yeah.
Have you actually heard of what's going on over there about these LGBT lessons to kids that are at 4 to 5 years old, and yet there's these Muslim parents that are withdrawing their kids and protesting? Have you heard about that?
I have heard about that, yes.
Yeah, but then again, I know I actually got caught up in this interview on RT, the UK version, about the guy who organized, and yet this might be crazy saying this, but he says that kids are going to be confused about teaching that stuff. And then so this guy, who was a Muslim dude who organized the protester, he says kids, they don't judge people based on their sexual orientation or their religion or race. Kids are they said kids are too young to even understand what that stuff means. And he says that he doesn't believe that teaching kids about complex relationships, and when yet kids are more into their toy trains or Legos and that kind of stuff.
Well, of course. I mean, kids don't really understand what's going on with all this stuff. Adults do, of course, but the kids don't really know. They're just trying to play with their toys and be children. That's all.
I know it's kind of crazy, but I actually found myself agreeing with the Muslim guy.
Well, hey, sometimes that will happen.
I know, and it isn't where it takes a complete turn. And here's a complete turn for her. So, have you heard of someone named Jess Phillips? And if you don't know who she is, so you've heard about when Sargon is running for parliament, right? Sargon of Akkad.
I've not heard about him running for government for parliament.
Basically, when Sargon of Akkad was running for president, basically what happened, Jess Phillips, she's a member of the Labour Party, which the Labour Party is basically the British version of the American Democrat Party. So basically, she was caught up in a smear tweet saying that I wasn't sure if it was true or not, but basically he said Sargon quote unquote joked that he wanted to rape her.
Oh well, no, I don't know what's going on with that.
Oh, you haven't heard about that?
No.
So basically, I want to tell you this. This is completely the complete irony here. So the reason why I want to bring that up, because she basically Jess Phillips, the same woman I talked about, she actually went face to face with the Muslim protesters, and she says they're not being Muslim correctly because they're being intolerant.
Wow, that's interesting.
And I'm thinking to myself, well, you should arrest her. You should have her resign for this Islamophobia laws, because you know how they have those laws over there, right?
Right.
Yes. So I'm actually kind of finding this really ironic what's happening here.
It is that.
No, I mean basically how with this intersectionality stuff, and then how they're basically turning against each other.
Right.
It's you see it a lot happen here, but now it's also happening. I think it's a lot worse in the UK.
Well, but when you got a place where you have this kind of crazy ideology going on, and people are kind of not really protesting against it, it's going to be some weird things like this happening.
And all right, before, because time's ticking here, I just want to say this about. I'm gonna touch up on the Virginia Beach shooting, by the way. But here's one thing I note. Here's one thing. They always say, "Oh, there's lack of gun control, ban the guns, and that kind of stuff." But I'm always thinking to myself, well, people bear in mind that people have killed each other even long before guns have existed. And sure, gun control will reduce gun violence if that argument goes in by itself. But people will find other ways to kill other people, even if the materials you use in your everyday life, they can be used they can be used in a lethal manner.
That's right.
I mean, knives. Your wife can use knives on a kitchen block, running someone over with a truck, or even pushing someone down the stairs. It kind of goes on. 1,000 ways to die.
It does happen, but people don't think about it like that.
All right. And this is probably my final thing. So, well, first off, rest in peace to them. But this is my final thing before I go. Okay, I just actually kind of had this bit of a question. There's something I really thought of. So you know how California and Texas both have majority Hispanic population, right?
Yes.
So let me ask you this. And this is probably the demographics question. So why is it that if they're so desperate of changing the demographics, why is it that California, which is Hispanic, which has a huge Hispanic population, why is that a deep blue state? Yet Texas, which has the same demographic, which has about the same demographic correlation as California, why is Texas deep red? The complete opposite. Yet they both have the Hispanic majority populations.
That's a good question.
You kind of understand. You always hear this, that they're scared of the demographic change, but that's something I kind of really thought of for a while. Yet historically, even throughout history, both those states have had Hispanic majority populations.
Well, you could have the whole Sureño Norteño thing going on, maybe.
All right, but that's one question I haven't heard anyone consider. But I'm probably going to end it right here because I know you're probably busy. Have a good night, my friend.
All right, thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you. All right, thank you to Nico for the call. That's a good question about the whole. You got Texas, you got a lot of Hispanics there, and same thing with California, but the voting demographic is way different. You know. That's a very good question, but the kind of Hispanics are different in California. You know, you're not going to find a lot of cowboy hat wearing Hispanics in San Francisco. You see what I'm saying? But thank my man Nico for the call. Definitely appreciate him. Someone see you on the line. I'm speaking to.
Hey, what's up, man? It's Mark.
All right, Mark. What's happening?
Nothing much. I didn't get enough to catch enough of the show. I need to scroll back and listen to all your stuff. I just want to go through some of your topics. You know, the VA shooting. I'm actually surprised that it doesn't happen actually more often, the amount of stress and financial pressure that people are under. You know, I speak to millennials, And they're like, yeah, I got all my stuff together. I'm single and I work 3 jobs. And that's like the new normal. You know what I mean? It's like, it almost seems like, people are struggling to get by on what they do. But as far as gun control goes, again, when you're allowing people to invade your country and you're giving them social services and housing and sanctuary cities at the expense of your own citizenry that's on tremendous financial pressure, no matter what laws you pass, this crime is not going to get reduced. I saw some table that compared Texas to Chicago. And it had like the same populations in these certain cities, and the only difference was the gun laws, and the crime was drastically lower than in Chicago.
Well, there you have it right there.
What's that?
So there you have it right there. I mean, these laws, they do have an impact.
Right. And also, it's just like, as with prohibition and as with drugs, as they loosen up the laws on, like, marijuana and mushrooms and all these other things, it's like they want to get more stringent on guns when they are capitulating on narcotics, which is basically they're admitting defeat. They're on narcotics. So they think their laws are going to work against firearms when people can almost, 3D print that now. And again, it's like if your voting base, if your Democratic voting base is basically narco traffickers that don't obey the laws of the border, they're not going to obey the gun laws anyway, and they're just going to sell their arms on the black market here. So it's kind of like the dumbest of the dumb to even bring the gun control debate into the picture,
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, and as for Pelosi and MSNBC going against black people, I heard there was a strategy that Trump was going to use against Joe Biden, which was to go target the black vote specifically and try to get them on the Trump side. But, again, I never watch MSNBC just because they're just not for me. I see the corporate shills. I don't even watch TV anymore. I get my news from my peers. People like you. I cannot trust people that work for corporate America. The trust is gone.
Oh, yeah, it's done. It's totally finished. Because, at this point, they do whatever they're told. It's not about truth or anything like that.
Right. Bilderberg is going on right now, too. Have you been invited to that ever, Bilderberg?
Never in my life, and I doubt that I will be.
Right. Do they, and I feel like Bilderberg is kind of like discriminatory. Why isn't there any black Bilderberg? You know what I mean?
Hey, I don't know anything about that. That's a good question, though.
Right. I just think that it would make sense. If there was such a thing as a black Bilderberg, I think Drake would be in it.
Yeah, he fit in pretty well.
Yeah, because I liked your tweet, because what's funny is the reason I think that sometimes that like you're trustworthy is because your hot spicy take on the NBA finals being basically rigged in the favor of the Raptors in Canada. I almost feel like it's rigged just to prop up that dude's rap career, you know what I mean? And so it just made me laugh when I saw that tweet. I'm like, oh my gosh, how woke can you get? I wonder if your fans even contemplate that or understand where you're coming from,
Hey, I can't even really tell, but I know one thing. You'll see that I'm right at the end of it. I can see what's going on. It's pretty clear. Like, a lot of this stuff is not really hard to see once you have your eyes open.
That's wonderful. If I can do it, I might do a little small, meager wager and just go with the Raptors just because you tweeted that out just for fun, just for laughs. Yeah, anyway, I heard that the hashtag is a hate symbol. Did you know that?
The hashtag itself, just the hashtag with nothing beside it?
Yeah.
Wow, I did not hear about that.
Yeah, they're calling it the fashtag, as in fascism tag. And the hashtag, they say it's 2 H's that have somehow been combined. and that the two H's stand for basically Hail Hitler, and the hashtag means Hail Hitler.
Wow.
So like now the hashtag is going to be the new OK sign, that they turned into white power. They say the hashtag is going to be the new symbol of like white supremacy or something. You know what I mean?
That is absolutely crazy. I mean, where have we come? I mean, the hashtag, it's on your phone. Even back in the day where you had the little dial phone with the cord, I mean, it's on there. So how are people trying to say that's a new symbol of white supremacy? This is absurd.
Yeah. The way they've co-opted the symbol and like broken it down and interpreted the symbol to be like train tracks, which symbolize the cattle cars that ship to the poor people to the gas.
Wow.
The hashtag represents these things, and it's just like, I mean, it's a pisser. The amount of creativity that they come up with this stuff, I just am like, and it makes you believe it, and we're at the point where because of the amount of wokeness that's out there, the amount of dishonesty that they've perpetuated in the media, it seems like anybody with the loudest voice can rewrite history to their own ends, and I think that's where we are right now.
I believe you're right about that one.
Yeah, and then and then one thing is like, whatever people think about Trump, I see the pros and cons of everything. But did you see he threw on these Mexican tariffs? He wanted to put like a 5% tariff on imported Mexican goods and said, if you can't stop these caravans, then I guess I'm going to have to give you tariffs just like I did with China. And obviously with China, he proved that he would stick to them. And now supposedly already, like after, I don't even think a day has gone by, and that president of Mexico, his knees are starting to buckle.
Hey, something's got to give, because you're talking about like what they export 38% of their total goods to the United States. So that's going to hurt. And they got to do something right now to tighten up. Because they can't just keep allowing this to happen. We don't have this issue coming from Canada. They don't just, have their border just overflowing. People ain't just going to come to Canada doing whatever they want to do. So Mexico, all they really got to do is tighten their border up at their southern border, so they don't have anybody coming from these little podunk countries into their country, which is also kind of podunk, but not as podunk as the other ones. Tighten that border up, and you'd be good to go. And if anybody floats into the country from somewhere else, then, send them back.
Agreed. There's this thing called the NAP, or non-aggression principle. It's basically a principle that pacifists take on and say, look how much moral I am than you. I'm for nonviolence. I'm for the non-aggression principle. And a lot of people are saying, that was violated once you started letting invaders have sanctuary cities and employment and social services at the expense of the American workers. So when one goes off and goes haywire over being laid off under this tremendous financial pressure that Americans are in, I'm for the supposed non-aggression principle, but it's never been applied. And so anybody who tries to grandstand on that and say, oh, this is where what I stand for, oh, gun control, it's not going to work. It's not going to work when you take American people who had jobs and put them in a position where they're going to be homeless or out on the street. They gave sanctuary cities to an invading population, gave them homes. What about the guy who's going to lose his house when he gets laid off from a state job? And I mean, it's like, I actually am fairly neutral on it. I'm not having a pity party. I'm actually not sympathetic one way or the other. But the fact of the matter is if you can't be nationalist, why does this invader family get a house and I don't? Why do they get tuition breaks and I don't? There's this presumption that somehow me working, or that an American working 2 or 3 jobs has as much equity or savings as the person who just got off the boat yesterday who's getting grants and social services and housing and things like that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then last thing, I'll let you go, but Pelosi is a trip. You know, I hear her, and she's like, these 3 things. She's holding up 2 fingers. These 2 things, she's holding up 3. You know, that's a commie tactic. Remember that? They used to, like, torture people and be like, how many fingers am I holding up? And they would hold up, like, 2. And then you'd go 2, and they'd slap you, and they'd be like, no, 3. Until you'd accept the commie lie of saying the wrong thing under their duress and under their tyranny, you know what I mean? So she's sitting there and stammering and stuttering and being like, oh yeah, the Trump is the reason that blacks are acting out. You know, I've heard that other people say it's climate change. Yes, the climate is why blacks act that way. Anybody who says absurd things like that, how are they still like showing up to places? It's just like, oh man, these are the things that if they were on the right, they would just get flamed for. And just listen to Pelosi, the amount of stuttering, the amount of stammering. She's like, you can't show my videos. You doctored the video, and it's like the original video. And listening to her, I feel like I'm listening to dubstep. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's really all over the place. And I'm glad that Trump kind of endorsed her to become Speaker of the House, because you're just seeing how really pitiful she is. It's just, you're too old. Obviously, something's not really, all the gears ain't really turning all the way. Go ahead and just sit down somewhere. But until you do so, we can just enjoy you melting down right in front of us as Speaker of the House, embarrassing the whole Democratic Party even more than what they do already.
Whether it was McCain, or whether it's senile Pelosi, or whether it's Nadler drooling on his gut with his nipple-high belt and his cross-eyed as he's passing out. It's like, what kind of one flew over the cuckoo's nest, funny farm, big pharma, intoxicated, senior moment having leadership do we have? Is disgraceful. It's embarrassing. And then you see boomers pointing the finger at millennials, telling them what for. You know what I mean? It's like you put these senile, brain-dead, walker-having, drooling, dementia, one of your people said, people in leadership, and then you want to blame the millennials for the political environment of America. Give me a break. These young lions should be ripping these old fogies to shreds and calling out the pig farmers and the lime pit trucks. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100% correct, man. Hey, that was great, but I got a few more calls I'm going to get to. But thank you for your calls always. Definitely appreciate you.
Thanks for your time, sir. I went on too long. Bye-bye.
Shout out to my man, Mark. That was a great call. And what he said there was correct. About who's in leadership, the positions of leadership, who got them there, and the whole thing about the walkers. I saw either I think it was Elijah Cummings or his twin John Lewis with a walker. It's like, yo, if you're using the walker, it's about time to go ahead and retire. And you're up there in age. You were hanging out with MLK during the civil rights movement. And you were like not necessarily a young man then. So time's ticking and you're not getting any younger. So what are we going to do here? But let me get to my next call. 843 on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, what up, ABL, man? It's Mark, man, coming to you from Savannah, man.
All righty, man. What's going on?
I had to come and touch down on Pelosi real quick, running her mouth about Trump in the hood and all that. She don't know nothing about the hood. Trump is saving the hood right now. I'm telling you, the hood love Trump. The people in the hood is really conservative and they don't even know it.
Yeah, all day.
So, you know what I'm saying? I mean, a lot of our values, entrepreneurship and stuff like that, I mean, it really is in the hood, and I feel like a lot of people is really starting to open up their minds and stuff like that. And I feel like in 2020, we're really going to see the most black people, you know what I'm saying, ever voting for a Republican.
Oh, yeah, because it started in 2016, because in 2016, Trump got more of the black vote than Mitt Romney and John McCain before him. So now we got him a year, and we got him a term in office. You know, you're doing stuff like the Young Black Leadership Summit, and we doing that again this year. We having it again.
I mean,
it's going to be every year. So when you're doing stuff like that, I've not seen any other president do stuff like this. And you doing stuff like it.
My thing is I'm worried about what's going to happen after Trump because he's such a great president. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I honestly feel like I never seen a president that just loved black people so much and want to do something for us. You know what I'm saying? Within at least the last 70 or 100 years.
See, next, what we got to do next is get another president in there that can just carry the torch. We can't just let the movement drop with Trump. It's got to keep on going. So,
man, we got to find another good white leader because we know black people can't lead. We let's be honest now. No, I'm just joking, but I mean, I'm just saying, man, I like Trump, and I ain't afraid to tell people. I be telling people at my job and shit, you know what I'm saying? They talk about they like Obama. Why you like Obama? You know what I'm saying? They can't answer that. And they say, why you like Trump? I tell them a million reasons why, man. But that's why I want to call, man. All I want to say is Trump is influencing the hood to do the right thing. He got us going legal. He can relate to us more than any of these people who trying to use identity politics, talking about smoking weed, basically trying to dumb us down. I mean, I don't like that. Trump keep the same energy all the time. Every time you see him, he's the same person. And all these people trying to, you know what I'm saying? They're trying to act like they down with everybody. They trying to act like all black people is criminals and smoking weed and all that stuff. I don't like that. I like to be respected. You know what I'm saying?
100% correct. You know, don't try to talk down to me. Don't try to do nothing. Just be yourself, and I can respect that.
Right. I mean, I feel like he looks at success. He don't look at your gender. He don't look at your sex. He don't look at your race or anything like that. It's all about your character with him and whatnot. And I can respect that because that's the characteristic of a man. And a lot of these dudes around here that don't like him, if you don't like Donald Trump, then you obviously a punk. And I'm going to just leave it at that, man. But I'm going to get out of here, man. I'm going to let these other dudes call in and get some time. ABL, man. Appreciate it, man. Keep it going.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right.
Shout out to the caller. Now, 2024, I think you're going to have Kim Kardashian run. And the first gentleman or first man, whatever you want to call him, would be Kanye. I'm not sure it's going to be Kanye running. It'll probably be Kim. And she will win for sure. If it's not a person like Kim Kardashian, it'll be somebody like Mike Pence. Maybe one of Trump's kids, like Ivanka. Maybe even Jared. But I'm not sure how that's going to work. I'm not sure what his citizenship and all that, but that's a different story. Ivanka, Kim Kardashian, Mike Pence. Who else could be? Tim Scott, South Carolina. He could run. He's still relatively young for a person in government. I'm not really sure who could run in 2024, but all we gotta do keep the party going, keep the momentum going, and just pass the torch down to the next person. Don't let the movement die with Trump. And at this point, the movement has become much bigger than Trump. It's about just being yourself, being more conservative, and not letting the liberal craziness take you over. That's what it's really about. Trump Jr. could run. I think I like Trump Jr. more as a mayor. If Trump Jr. could become mayor of New York City, that'd be beautiful. But I'm not sure if that'll work in a very liberal place. Kim Kardashian, look, Kim Kardashian has freed like 30-something people from jail already, mostly black. I mean, she's laying the groundwork right now. She's laying the groundwork right now. 100%. She already been to the White House several times, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. Kanye been to the White House several times. You know, that's just what it is. So, Kim, I mean, it don't even really matter. People talk about a sex tape. That don't matter. Because we've already seen Donald Trump with his wife. And we see what she did before she was posing nude and stuff like that. Don't nobody really care. That's not even a thing anymore. That's just kind of like normal. So telling you. And then let's not forget though, the Kardashian clan is the biggest name in entertainment. The Jenners, I mean, down all the way from Bruce, Caitlyn, like they're big. What's a young girl's name? Not Caitlyn. Kylie, I think that's her name. A billionaire already at like 25. I mean, come on. I'm telling you, Kim Kardashian, Mark, you heard it right here first. In 2024, you're going to be like, oh, I was on ABL Live in 2019, and he said that this would happen. 530, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Anthony Andre calling from Belly of the Beast, Berkeley, California.
All righty, what's going on?
Hey, just really quick, I wanted to touch on the Virginia shooting. I just started watching your live broadcast. So I don't know if you've already brought up this point or if a caller has. But with all these shootings, the common thread to me is medication. A lot of these shooters, mass murderers, what have you, are on SSRI drugs, ADHD drugs as kids. And the media, of course, doesn't want to look at that because it would squash their narrative. I mean, everybody's chomping at the bit to see what color the shooter is. It's like nobody cares anymore about the victims. It's like, is he black? Is he white? Is he Muslim? That's what they seem to be looking for the most clicks. Yeah. And then they go into this narrative. The Dems want gun control. The right want their guns, and then it's the same story over and over again. I just wanted to bring in some, if you haven't already talked about it, kind of a fresh perspective. I'm sure your callers are aware of this, but a lot of these killers are on drugs. Most of America is on drugs. It's cheaper to give people with mental health issues medication than to actually help fix them. And I just wanted to throw that out there as something that I never see on the news. I don't expect it because it doesn't increase the clickbait, and it defeats the narrative that each side is trying to put forward. So just wanted to get your thoughts on that and bring it up as a point in this quote unquote epidemic.
Well, the whole thing about drugs is a big problem. And I've made several videos about being anti-drug, and because I understand what drugs do. I lived in the drug-infested area before. I've seen I've firsthand witnessed how drugs can ruin people, ruin neighborhoods, ruin lives. And like you said, most of these shooters are on drugs of some sort, some kind of, and it's usually a legal drug. That's a problem. Not illegal, illegal, something that was prescribed to them by a doctor. That's the problem. See,
exactly.
It's not even about the illegal drugs. It's about the legal drugs, things you get from a doctor. People are being overprescribed just to say, okay, we're not going to treat the underlying issue, the real problem. We'll put you on these drugs and have that be that and just leave it alone. But that's not the way you should handle these things. And unfortunately, that is the way these things are being handled.
I totally agree with you. And I don't want to get all conspiracy theory, but sometimes conspiracy theories, if you peel them back, it's the truth. Yeah. And let's face it, we have big corporations. Look, I'm a capitalist. I love capitalism, but there's a dark side of capitalism, and the dark side of capitalism is that a lot of these pharma companies want to make money. They have to recoup the cost of research for their drugs. And how do they do that? Well, they pipeline it to the doctors. It's I call it the medical industrial complex.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and I think it's huge. And a lot of people don't want to think about it. It's just easier to take drugs than to have to deal with the underlying issues. It's cheaper, for managed care. It's much less expensive, and it's easier for the patient. But someday all of the pushing down is going to come home to roost, and I think that's what we're seeing with this. I think it's epidemic in other parts of our culture as well. I totally agree with you. I just wanted to throw in the big pharma. Again, not to be, they do a lot of good stuff, but like I said, there is a dark side of capitalism. Just wanted to throw that out there as well.
Well, thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Appreciate you too. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, that's a good point there about Big Pharma. I'm not a fan of Big Pharma. I'm not a fan of drugs in general. I'm just, I'm not a fan of drugs. I understand what drugs do. Drugs are a problem, and it's the legal drugs that come from your doctor. I think that I'm all about making money. I'm all about being the capitalist, but you can't harm people. Don't harm somebody. Don't hurt somebody physically because you're trying to make money. It's like, I can't say, oh, yeah, I'm trying to make money, so let me go out here and just, hurt unsuspecting people because I'm trying to make money. Now, if I know I'm going to be hurt, like if I'm playing sports or something like that, and I know when I sign up for this sport, injury is part of it, that's one thing. But if I am trusting my doctor to give me medication that's going to really help, but I'm being overprescribed and all these different things that are going on, I'm giving medication that's not really, that's addictive, and I'm not sure what's going on, that's a problem, 100%. And thank you to the super chatters. I'll get to you guys right quick. Shout everybody out. Thank you to my man Nico for the donation, who says Nancy Pelosi is like an old dog. It's sick and blind, and you're supposed to put it down, but you don't want to admit it because you love it too much. Well, that'd be the Democrats for you. They don't want to put Nancy down, but it's about time to go out back and just, take a little nap. But thank you for the donation. Happy Traveler says Pelosi is the best comedy actress of the year. Hey, that's a good one. Thank you for that. OBBG says ABL 2024. Hey, you never know. Anything can happen, but thank you for your donation. Kathleen says the hashtag little kerfuffle is a 4chan meme. It's always from 4chan, ain't it? It's always something that comes from 4chan. It's like the media are reading 4chan for their actual news. Like they think that's where you go to get real information. I mean, it's ridiculous. It started with this here. Like they said this meant white power. Like the three fingers are the W, and the middle finger and the index and the thumb make the P. Like really ridiculous. Thank you to Kevin Duggan, who says ABL merch, what you got, Anthony? I got a new shirt coming out. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. I'll show it a little bit later. And I might even do a hat to go with it. I might do the hat to go with it. Yeah. So I'll show you guys that in a little bit. Thank you to Dr. No, who says, when is a Fox News interview? I'm not sure what you're referring to. If you're asking me, when will I go on Fox News? I don't know. Whenever they hit me up, I'm there. I usually go on RT, Russia Today, a lot. That's usually where I'm at. I've not been on Fox News yet, but anywhere I go where they want me, I'm cool with it. That's pretty much how I look at it. If it's a good station, they wanted me to audition to be a panelist on a show for a liberal station. The person, I'll go ahead and say it. The person was SC Cup, and the network was HLN. And it was in New York, but I ain't want to do that because I just wanted to, stay true to what I do. I don't want to go on HLN and be a punching bag or just be the token guy to have on there. I want to be able to do what I do and talk on platforms that are best suited for me. And thank you to Seahawk Scott. Appreciate the donation, boss, who says, just wanted to send out some props to you, Anthony. Keep up the good work. Hey, I appreciate it. I do all this for y'all. If it wasn't for y'all, there'd be no me. So this is what I'm here. Black and Irish Crazy Chick Sheena says ABL go on Fox 5. Hey, if they call me, if Fox calls me to come on the show and be a guest, I do it. If they were to say, work a job, I like my independence. So I would be a guest, but I wouldn't just leave what I do over here and go to Fox and be an anchor. Nah. Celtic FN says, ABL, I'm 13. Can I call you and ask some questions? Go ahead. I got some time. I got about 7 minutes. So go ahead and call 434-658-1220. And the numbers in the box. Oh yeah, I could see that from a mile away. They wanted to set me up 100%. And they sent me their email probably about 2 years ago or a little bit less than that. I think I got the email when I was still in Virginia. So that had to have been a little over 2 years ago or a little under 2 years ago because I've only been here for about a year and a half. Yeah, get the 1776 sat right in time for the 4th. Absolutely. Yeah, these are flying. The 1776 and the We the People, they're flying like hotcakes. I got the shirts and everything to go with it, and they're really flying off the shelves. You saw me on TH. What is TH? I'm not really sure. Yeah, but I've been on a few shows, but wherever if it's a good station, if it's a good platform, and they say, hey, we want you to come on, say a few things, I'll definitely do it, no question. But I've always been the kind of guy that be more independent. Oh, you see me on RT? Okay. That was a Crypto Sky Green. Yeah, RT, they're good people. They treat me well. They always are very professional. If there's a debate, they tell me, okay, it's going to be a debate. We're going to talk about X, Y, and Z issue. I never know who the panelist, who my debate buddy is going to be. But they always tell me what it's going to be like. It's going to be a debate. Like I never get ambushed because I've been on shows sometimes where they ambush you. They say, "Oh, you want to have an interview," and then they try to like have a debate. It's like not you see you trying to like have the upper hand in the debate by not letting me know what it was going to be from the very beginning. So I like platforms that treat me well and treat me fair. Oh, the debate with Phil. Oh, shout out to Phil Advise. Yeah, shout out to Phil Advice Show. I did a debate. Well, what I had with him wasn't really a debate. We were on a panel, and then we started debating on a panel just randomly. But then there was a debate with Robert Perkins on Phil Advice Show. Yeah. Yeah, RT, they cool. They let you pretty much do what you want. Do I think I'm being censored? No. Nah. I mean, YouTube has been beautiful to me. They changed my life. I don't use Facebook that much for a content platform. Like, Facebook is more just to keep in contact with people, with people that I know and people that watch the channel. And I post memes on there. I'm not really posting my content that I post on YouTube over on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. So I cannot speak on being censored over there, but over here on YouTube, it's all good. I'm getting good views. I'm getting good engagement. They got a lot of tools over here to let you know what's going on. And certain things they want you to they don't want you to avoid talking about it, but certain things you're not going to be able to get monetized because you got a lot of people on the outside, haters that are going to try to write articles talking about YouTube is promoting this and their ads are right next to it. So that's why certain videos are not going to get fully monetized. But it's cool because even on videos that are slightly non-monetized, you still get YouTube red revenue, or it's called YouTube Premium now. You still get that money. And you still also have the ability to get super chat money. So, like, for example, if this video right now had the word abortion in the title, if it had abortion in the title, it would be less monetized. But I could still make money on it because you guys are being very generous in the chat by donating. So that does not get changed with a video that's lesser monetized. And if you watch this when you are signed in through YouTube Premium, that money, a portion of that money goes to me as well. So it's all good over here. Yeah, that's one thing, Robert. I respect everybody. I don't use any kind of foul language or vulgar language. I'm a family-friendly person, even though I speak about things that are kind of controversial. So I don't have any kind of real issues like that. Yeah, E.T. Williams, I don't know what happened. I had him on the show. He was saying that it just kind of happened. They were saying that he was a repeat offender, violator, or whatever, but he disagreed with that. I don't know how I was able to stay on, but he wasn't. And the reality is, if you are a conservative, there's a big microscope on you. You can be a liberal and pretty much get away with murder. You can say whatever you want to say as a liberal, but if you're conservative, then you got to be super careful about what you say. But for me, just being my natural self, I've been able to kind of fly under the radar and not really have a lot of problems. I did have the one issue where people tried to flag my video and I couldn't stream for a little while, but that was a manual thing that came from an individual and not from YouTube itself. Let me see. Stolen valor? Where's the stolen valor at? Anytime somebody says, "Were you in the military?" I say no. I had to kind of scream it one day. One time I was out for dinner. No, I was out for lunch on Veterans Day. Now, I'm a pretty big guy. I'm about 6'3", 220, and I had a bald head, clean shave, and I'm dressed like this. So they assume I'm a veteran or I'm in the military because I'm in Virginia, it's a military town. They assume I'm in the military. And the guy was like, "Happy Veterans Day." I was like, "Hey, I'm not in the military, sir." I said it loud so he wouldn't think that I was a veteran and give me a free meal. But then when the check came back, I had a free meal. It's like I just told you I was not, but I don't know where the stolen valor is coming from. I don't play that. Because my dad was in the military, uncle was in the military, granddad was in the military. We don't do that. Young Turks is deeply divided. Oh, the Young Turks are deeply divided among who? Like within the organization, you talking about Chunk Yogurt and Anna? Are they divided amongst each other? Like who's divided over there? I'm not really sure. Nah, people always say, JPP, people always say that they think I'm short. Like when they meet me, it was like, "Oh, you're big. I didn't know you're gonna be so big." Yeah. Book of Enoch, okay. Jimmy Dore. Now, I think Jimmy Dore has his own show. I think he's always had his own show. I'm not sure if Jimmy Dore was necessarily a member, or I'm not sure if he was with the Young Turks officially. I can't really say that for 100% sure or certain. Okay, wow. It got late real quick. I didn't know it was that late. Thank y'all for being here, but I got to go. It's past my time, 11 o'clock on the dot. I'll be back with a live stream on Wednesday. That's going to be, Wednesday, June 5th. And I'll have videos that are pre-recorded all throughout the week. I'll try to put some out tomorrow. If I don't, I'll just take one day off of the week. But definitely, I'm going to try to put out 2 videos per day if I got topics. I don't want to force on topics that don't make any sense. Just to put out 2 videos. I'm going to get you quality, good content you can sink your teeth into. What about Tommy? Tommy's still grinding. I saw a video from Tommy today. Robert Drake says, ABL, your demeanor presents as a vet. As a retired vet, I will welcome you to the family for sure, just like Brandon. And thank you for that, man. Definitely appreciate it. It just comes from my dad, really, because dad, he was in the Marines, and then he was a firefighter, 22 years. So, shaved face and the way you talk and the way you present yourself, I remember being a little boy and being taught by my dad and my granddad how to make a bed. Oh, they talking about bouncing the quarter on the bed, all this and that and the third, because it just comes from the military. It's just kind of like how I was raised up. It's just me. So I think that'll pretty much be it. Thank y'all for joining. Definitely appreciate you. I got all the super chats. You guys have been great tonight. I got one more. Shout out to Zerochi's King Sword, who says, ABL, I keep getting free super chats for $2. Why? You probably have YouTube Premium. If you have YouTube Premium, then you may be getting free super chats. I get those free every month, but mine are like $1, so I'm not really sure why you get more than me. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna call Susan, the CEO of YouTube, and figure out what's happening. Why you get more free super chats than I am. But thank you for that, man. Definitely appreciate you. And shout out to the moderators. You guys know who you are. We got Hip Hop Independent. We got Liza Jean, Michelle A, Bill from the Hills. Everybody, thank y'all for being here and getting them trolls out of the way. And until next time, y'all be safe. I'm out. And peace.